Hello, hi, welcome back everybody to the cooking show, to the daily cooking stream. I've missed you all so much. It has been so long. It has been 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. It's been a little bit. This is my new kitchen. I have moved into my new place and it is amazing to have all of you. And hello to all of my lovely little sous chefs. Hello to Munha, hello to G-Spent Gaming, hello to Tulina, hello to Two Dads Kissing, hello to Shy Chica. Welcome on in. It is good to have all of you. I missed you all very much. I miss doing the cooking stream so much. I'm glad that you like the setup as it is. Munha? Yeah, that's right. Best green screen that there is on the market. I know some of my lighting stuff is a little bit whack at the moment. We're gonna get it fixed. We're gonna get all of it sorted. This setup is still in its new infancy, I suppose, at the moment. So if you have any suggestions about different layouts, if you have any critiques, please tell me in the Discord. But that being said, it is amazing to have all of you. I missed you all so much. And that's right, we now have a beautiful vent above the stove. We get to sear stuff more. Hello to Zlo the Meek as well. Hello to John Dahlia. It is lovely to have each and every single one of you. Yeah, so it's good to see all of you. I missed you all so much. So what happened? Well, I moved. I've been living with my mom my whole life. I have now moved in with my lovely roommate Vixen. We live together, and everybody, this new place that we have has a backyard, which means at some point in the future, we're gonna have some grilling streams. Now that's gonna require a lot of setup, that's gonna require a lot of different cameras, but we're gonna have outdoor cooking happening at some point or another, and I can promise you that. So I'm really excited about this new space. We have more space to be able to go ahead and do stuff. I think my music is a little too loud for me at the moment, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop that down ever so slightly. Please forgive me. Okay, so it's lovely to have all of you. Everybody talk to me. How have you all been? Have you all been doing well? And we'll do a little discussion about what we have coming up today. We'll talk about what we're going to cook today. Two Dads Kissing, you've asked me, when am I grilling? Am I gonna wear any novelty aprons? Oh yeah, we gotta have like a Kiss the Chef and like a Women Fear Me, Fish Want Me apron. I think that would be really important for us. So we have to have like a bunch of novelty aprons, of course. Everybody, today we're going to be doing a mojo inspired pork. This is not exactly a super traditional Cuban mojo pork. I'm gonna be doing it in a pressure cooker, and alongside this mojo pork, we're going to be doing some lovely fried plantains. Munha, you've asked me, do you appreciate your new place apart from the kitchen? Absolutely. The cooling is better. We have a lovely backyard. I have a much better kitchen. I do really like my new place. Quite happy about it as well. Okay, so everybody, mojo pork with some fried plantains. Mojo pork is really delicious. It's really aromatic. It uses a lot of fresh citrus. It uses a lot of herbs. And let's go ahead and do our little ingredient walkthrough. So for the mojo pork today, my friends, or rather the mojo inspired pork, as always, just like Munha did, you can type in ! menu at any point to see what we have to make today. So I have this lovely, beautiful pork shoulder. This was a 10-pound pork shoulder. I gave away half of it that I got for $18, which I'm very happy about. It's a big, beautiful pork shoulder. It's gonna be delicious, and pork shoulder holds up super well to long cooking. Pork shoulder is typically a really tough cut of meat. It's the same cut as the chuck on the cow. A pork shoulder has a lot of connective tissue, it has a lot of sinew, and so it needs a lot of cook time for it to get nice and tender. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the pressure cooker, my friends. Okay? Also, Zlo, it's lovely to have you. It is lovely to have you full attention in that case. So, I have this one big, beautiful pork shoulder. It's already bone out, and we're going to be chopping it up into little cubes, searing it, and pressure cooking it. The rest of the ingredients for today are actually going to be super simple. Let's go over all of my lovely produce, my friends. So, for the mojo pork, I have two types of citrus. I have some lovely oranges. I don't actually have my citrus press with me, so these will unfortunately have to be juiced by hand. I have that, as well as some lovely limes. We have some limes, we have some orange, so it's gonna be nice and sweet, it's gonna be bitter, it's gonna be acidic, and it's gonna be super aromatic and super perfumed. Alongside it, my friends, we also have some lovely plantains. These are not as matured as I would like, once again. Typically for the kind of fried plantains that I would want maduros, which are like all the way black around. They're fully matured, fully ripened, and we'll talk about plantains and why I love them so much. And everybody, it would not be mojo pork without, of course, a lot of garlic. So we're gonna be doing maybe like an entire's head worth of garlic. We're gonna have some going into the finishing sauce as well. It's gonna be delicious. It's gonna be phenomenal. So garlic, orange, lime, plantains will be all of the fresh produce that we need for today. And then everybody, spice-wise, we are keeping it super simple. The only two spices that we'll be using, I have some cumin. I don't have whole cumin seeds because I forgot to buy some. So some pre-ground cumin. This is the only time you'll ever see me use pre-ground cumin. And then I have some lovely Mexican oregano. Everybody, it's our first stream back. I apologize for the lack of citrus press. I apologize for the lack of whole cumin seeds. But all of the spices for today, really simple. Once again, just some cumin and some fresh dried Mexican oregano. Okay, so both of those ready to go for today. And then last but not least, everybody, for the mojo pork, we need some fresh herbs. And we have some lovely mint, okay, as always. Put in a salad spinner, wash it off really well. This mint had a couple of bugs in it, so I made sure to get those out. And we put it into a little container with a paper towel to keep it nice and fresh. So we have some mint as well as some cilantro, because you cannot have any kind of Latin American cooking that is without cilantro. Cilantro is used everywhere and all over the place. Also, because of the new neighborhood that I live in now, I have access to buying fresh culantro. Normally, culantro is an herb that I would only be able to get canned, but I'm really excited to be able to show that off and be able to cook with it at some point. Okay, so that's it in terms of ingredients. We have pork, we have citrus, we have mint, we have cilantro. Is everybody ready for today? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please, and thank you. That's right. So welcome on in, Kelsey Harding. Lovely to have you. It's not a super traditional mojo pork. It is going to be a braised mojo pork. Mojo pork is typically done in an oven. It's typically really, really slowly cooked. We're going to be doing it cubes in pressure cooker. So it's more so inspired by the flavor profile of a mojo pork, but I'm just looking for something a little bit more realistic in a home setting. Also, Lego Batman fan, welcome on in. Everybody, let's also do a little bit of housekeeping, okay? So really quickly, if you haven't already done so, please check out the Patreon, !Patreon. I'm not gonna lie, moving is expensive. I have spent so much money in the moving process. And so any support on the Patreon, it goes directly to me. It is the best way to financially support the show. Any and all help on the Patreon, it would go such a long way. It would go super, super long way. So please and thank you. Also, at any point, if you have any cooking questions whatsoever, it can be about this dish, it can be about something else, it can be about any general cooking questions. Remember that I am here to help you learn how to cook at home. I'm here to teach you how to cook at home. I'm here to help you understand things. So at any point, you can always ask me. Are the numbers behind dancing? Munha, that just has to do with the camera shutter speed. So at the moment, it's gonna look like it's dancing. We'll play around with the settings in the future, okay? So, here's the order of operations for today. We have a bunch of pork, we have to cube it up, we have to sear it, get some nice color on it, we have to pressure cook it so it gets nice and tender, we have to fry the plantains, make the finishing sauce for the mojo pork as well. We have a lot of vegetable prep, we have a lot of things that we need to get done, and it's all going to begin with cubing up some pork. So, here is all nice and tied up. Gonna go ahead and have a little sip of water. I'm gonna try to relax a little for a second because I feel like I came in with a lot of energy. I came in swinging all at once. Okay, and let's go ahead and put on some gloves for today. And then we're going to go ahead and get a nice big beautiful pork shoulder out. We're gonna go ahead and process it. We're gonna clean it up a little bit and we will be cutting it up into some lovely cubes. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin, my friends. My cutting board is all set up and all ready to go as always. If I could please, thank you. Doing that with my gloves is always a little bit tricky. My cutting board is all set up, it's all ready to go. And everybody, I have this big, beautiful pork shoulder for today. This was the bone. I'm not gonna be using the bone today at all, although this would be amazing for like a pork stock or if you're doing something like a tonkotsu, okay? But in my case, the only thing that I'm going to need is this bad boy right over here, okay? So one big beautiful pork shoulder. This is about 5 pounds worth of meat, 4 pounds worth. I gave away half of it. This was originally a 10-pound pork shoulder, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just take this and just slap that bad boy right onto the cutting board. Okay, so I asked my butcher to take out the bone. I will not be able to walk you through the process of taking out the bone. It's a little bit more complicated on a pork shoulder, but this is an ideal cut for long braising. This is an ideal cut for long cook times. And the reason for this is because, first of all, it has a lot of fat. so it's not going to get too dry in the cooking process. Second of all, this is the kind of a cut of meat that needs a lot of cook time. If you wanted to do something like this quickly, you have all of these bands of connective tissue, you have all of these bands of fat that can make it really tough and chewy. The goal is to take this up to 175 degrees internal to break down the collagen into gelatin in the presence of water and to get it nice and tender. This would not be good for something like a pork chop. This would not be good for something like a steak. This would be ideal for long extended cook time. Do we secretly have a paper towel under the wooden board? Munha, this is just a heavy enough cutting board that we don't need the paper towel under it. Okay, so everybody, we have the skin on. Now, if you're making something like a pernil, having the pork skin on can be really, really beneficial. The pork skin turns into chicharron, right? You cook it long enough in the presence of fat, and then it bubbles up and it turns super, super crispy. However, because of the fact that we are going to be doing an extended braise, this pork skin is only going to turn gummy and kind of weird and chewy. It's not going to become nice and crispy in that process, and truthfully, making chicharron at home is a little bit too much effort. So this might be sacrilegious to some of you, but I will be taking off my pork skin. And in order to do so, all that you're going to need is a nice sharp knife, nice long knife. I'm just going to be using my chef's knife for this today. Okay, you can tell what's the pork skin, it literally feels leathery, right? And all that we're going to do, my friends, is we're going to just take it and peel it back and make an incision and make a bunch of really, really small incisions. And we're not going to need all of the fat that's sitting under it either. So I'm just taking it and I'm peeling it. You need a nice sharp knife to be able to get through this process. Again, everybody, if I was doing like a roast pork, then I would keep the skin on and then I would fry it after. If I was doing a pork belly, I would keep the skin on. But in my case today, I do not need all of that pork skin. It is just going to get tough and chewy. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through all of it. Keep peeling it back, keep peeling it back, keep peeling it back until all of that pork skin has officially come off. And everybody, just try to go as little into the meat as possible. Try to take off some of that cap of fat, okay? Do I already know what I'll use it for later? No, Munha, I think I might just need to dispose of it because I don't have the ability to deep fry pork skin at home. So I think in today's case, I might just be a little bit more wasteful. So everybody, just peel it back. Just take it and peel it back. Take it and peel it back. Take it and peel it back. Just keep going, keep going. We're going to go ahead and get rid of it. All of it gone. All of it out of here. And I left a little piece of it, and that's okay. We're going to go ahead and just trim that off in a second. So yeah, all of this, again, everybody, if you would like to keep it, you can look up how to make chicharron. It's typically just deep frying it really low and slow, and then it puffs up and gets super crispy. In my case today, that is not what I will be going for. Okay, so all of it has to come off, and then we might need to also trim off some of the excess fat, because this is a pork shoulder. Pork shoulder has a lot of fat, and that is not going to be all fat that we need for today. Okay, so we got still a pretty significant piece of meat, even after we trimmed off the skin. I'm going to go ahead and dispose of this really quickly. Once again, everybody, I do apologize for disposing of the pork skin, but I really just do not have a home use for it at the moment. So, come take a look. We have this super, super big cap of pork fat. This, I think I'm actually going to be keeping and rendering. Also, Livy, thank you so much for the raid. It's lovely to have you. Hi, Lana. It's lovely to have you in as well. So, we have this pork shoulder. We have this big old cap of fat. Welcome on in. Welcome to the best cooking show on Twitch. It is lovely to have you. It is good to see you, Livy. It is good to see you, Lana. All that I'm going to do is we're going to be just trimming off a good, sizable amount of all of this pork fat, my friends. And be really, really careful. You don't want to take off too much of it, okay? You only want to take off as much as you need. You don't want to accidentally go into the flesh of the pork itself. Also, Lana, today we're going to be making a mojo-inspired braised pork. And then also some fried plantains. And if we have time, we'll also do some rice. Okay, so just keep it trimming, keep it peeling, keep it peeling, keep it peeling. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of that excess fat, my friends, because again, it's ultimately just going to result in a mojo pork that's a little too greasy. Okay, we don't need all of it. The pork shoulder has plenty of fat still running up inside of it. Okay, and just take it and trim it off a little bit. Okay, I think that is a very, very sizable portion of fat that you and I have managed to take off together. I'm going to take off a little bit more, it seems. Okay, yeah, I see this entire band of fat still that is like intact. And I think that I want to get some easier access into it. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this bad boy in half. And I'm just going to go at it a little bit more. Just take it and shave off the fat. And there's no right or wrong way to do this, by the way. Right? You're not going to be able to get it off in one piece. You're just slowly shaving it off. It's really similar to how people, when they trim up like a leg of prosciutto or like a just big leg of like jamon, this is what they do. They take a nice long sharp knife and they just slowly trim off excess caps of fat. Okay, so this is looking quite cleaned up at the moment. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Excellent. That looks good. Keep going over here. Excellent. And then I have a little bit more over here that I think I can go ahead and just slide off. Excellent. This piece of pork seems to be all nice and cleaned up for my use today. And let's go ahead and do the same with this little guy. Just take it, pick up that flap of fat, and make that incision, and make sure that you're getting as little of that meat as possible, because you don't want to waste any of it. It's nothing but good quality meat. Okay? Does anybody have any questions for me at the moment? We're just cleaning it up. And I'm really excited to be able to finally work with pork shoulder. In my area previously, because my area was mostly Turkish, there was mostly like halal butchers, there would not be any pork sold. And the only kind of pork that I would be able to get would be these little pork chops. Now I have access to pork ribs. I have access to more cuts of pork. Also, Emrak, Meek, it is lovely to see you. How's my day going? I'm Hayne. I gotta say, it is going fantastic. I'm really, really happy to be back. I'm a little nervous. Like, I'm noticing my voice get a little shaky. It's been a little bit. I'm just really more than anything happy to be back doing the cooking show. I miss doing this so much. This was my eating routine. In the process of moving, I've not been eating very well. I've been like eating out every single day because moving has been hell. And now things are finally settling down. So I gotta say, today is the best day that I've had in a couple of weeks. I get to see all of your lovely faces. So, other ethnic grocery stores in the new neighborhood? Yes, Tarina, absolutely. So, one of the biggest things that I advocate for is to look at the kinds of stores around you and modify the things that you cook based on what is available to you. I previously had access to a Chinese grocery store, Eastern European grocery stores, and Turkish ones. I no longer have access to any of them. A lot of the dishes that I used to make will no longer be present. What I gained, though, on the other hand, is a lot of Latin grocery stores and a lot of Afro-Caribbean grocery stores. And so, as a result, the food that we make on the channel is going to reflect that going forward. We're going to be making a lot of dishes that I haven't done before. We're going to be working with ingredients that I don't get to show off too often. And so it's going to be a nice change. So it's neither good nor bad. I'm going to miss some of the stuff that I made before, but the new stuff is also going to be really, really exciting. Okay, so nice and cleaned up. We got all of this. Guys, look at how much fat that we have removed from this. It would have made the mojo pork a little bit too greasy if we kept all of it in. Got a couple more pockets that I think we could trim up. Okay, and we still have a little bit of the joint that is left over from when they cut the leg out. I feel like this camera is really dark for some reason. It is not nearly as exposed as it should be. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try to quickly trim off this little bit of the knuckle that was still left from the pork. Okay, and now I think that we should be all nice and cleaned up, my friends. We have nice big pieces of pork, and so let's go ahead and just cut it up into these nice little cubes. We don't want cubes that are too small for the pressure cooker, because that way you'll get like a lot of overcooked gray bands on the outside, but you also don't want it to be too thick because it'll take too long to cook. Okay, so let's go in and let's go ahead and cut this up into some nice cubes. This is a nice long flat piece of pork, so I'm going to cut it first in half lengthwise like so. Beautiful. And then we're going to go ahead and cut this guy into some nice medium-sized cubes. Okay, that's a nice medium cube. That's a nice medium cube. And this last guy, I'm going to just trim him up slightly to get rid of that little chunk of fat. Excellent. We have these lovely cubes of pork. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So nice medium-sized. Actually, that's more of a large cube. But this is not exact. It's home cooking at the end of the day. You don't have to be super precise with your measurements. Okay? Okay, and then we have this other piece of pork that we'll go ahead and just cut up into some nice little cubes. probably cut this into 3 lengths. This will be 1. And this guy, oh, that is a massive band of fat running in the middle of it. I don't think I necessarily want that much fat inside of my final product. So, as I've opened him up, I think we're going to need to trim him up just a little bit more to get him acceptable for today. Okay, so take that and slice that out. There you go, excellent. And go back in here and slice out this chunk. Yeah, that is just a big old band of fat that truthfully we do not need for today. Let's see, could I get this guy out in 1 strip? And the answer is not all that successfully. Okay, that is a big old chunk of fat. And let's just keep on trimming. Got this little guy right here. See if we can get this eye of meat out from inside of it. There you go. And out it goes. Also, Hexuact, welcome on in. Welcome to the new kitchen. Welcome to the new cooking setup. I'll be able to show you guys the new stove shot in a second. The new stove looks pretty fantastic, I have to say. I also always get a little excited when I get to see you in the chat. Because I know what happens. Yeah, new kitchen. I've moved out on my own. Moving costs have been insane, but we are here and I have a backyard now. I have a backyard, and that means in the future, I'm gonna be setting up, you know, like an outdoor stream. I'm gonna be setting up like some outdoor grilling. So really, really excited about it. But yeah, moved, got my own place now with my lovely roommate, and I'm really excited about it. Okay. And this is 1 little scrap of meat that we can go ahead and take off successfully. Beautiful. And last but not least, everybody, we have this chunk of meat that is still mostly fat. Hex, thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs. Thank you, thank you. That's right. We do have a backyard, John. We do have a backyard. That's going to be some outdoor grilling. That's going to be some outdoor streams at some point or another, which I'm really, really excited about. Okay. That chunk of pork just got nice and cut out. And let's go ahead and trim up the last of it, my friends. Oh yeah, it is the new channel. That's right, Hex. This is the new cooking channel. We've officially moved away. We've officially migrated away from Daramgar. We are now going to be forever on Daramgar TV. Also, Dosky, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Hexuact. I really, really appreciate it. That's very sweet of you. You gave a 12-month gift sub. That's crazy. That is, well, I'm more than happy about it. Okay, and honestly, this last piece, I think I can just cube it up as it is. I think that'll be perfect. That'll be just fine. That'll be more than fine. Okay, and this is where the knuckle was. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that meat off. Everybody, Hexuac, thank you so much for the 20 gifted subs. That's very sweet of you. It's really, really appreciated. Thank you, thank you. I have all of this lovely cubes of pork. Okay, these are all ready to go. We're gonna sear them. We're gonna develop some flavor. This is all of the fat that we'll be saving for a different application in the future, because this is so much pork fat that I would not want to waste at all. Vinny of Destruction, if you would like to know what we're cooking, you can always type in ! menu. But today we're doing a mojo-inspired braised pork with some fried plantains. So all of this I'm gonna go ahead and pop right back onto my sheet tray. And I'm gonna go ahead and discard the knuckle. We have no use for the knuckle anymore. And everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and just grab a little baggie and put all of the pork fat inside of it to save for another use in the future. So please forgive me for a moment as I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. Open that up, excellent. And let's get all of this pork fat nice and properly inside. And this has to get rendered. We're gonna make some pork fat, we're gonna make some lard. Maybe we'll cook with it on Sunday. I think that'll be really, really good to do. Okay, so all of that in, excellent. And I'm just gonna go ahead and seal that off, wash my hands, and then we have a little bit of cleaning to do. Excellent. So everybody, as always, when we cook at home, we have to clean as we go. I'm gonna quickly wash up my hands, I'm gonna wash off my cutting board, I'm gonna wash off my knife, and in the meantime, I can also show you my brand new stove shot right? We have a lot more space in the kitchen now. We have a lot better of a layout. I'm gonna be able to get new camera angles, right? We have my Dutch oven all ready to go because this is where we will be searing the pork. Also, the tanning bed, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. So, everybody, I'm gonna be taking a second to really quickly just wash up my knife, wash off my cutting board. If you have any questions, now would be a really good time to ask me, okay? So, I'll grab the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and take you all with me right here, right now. Quickly wash off my knife, and then we have a lot of work to do today still. So, I know you can't see me in the frame at the moment, or maybe you can a little bit. I don't know if you can see the back of me. Please don't put us in the oven. Moonha, I will not be putting you in the oven, I promise. That will not today. That'll be for another stream. Okay, I could probably just show you all right now. Okay, I think you can kind of see me. I'm slightly in frame as I'm washing the dishes. Also, ARC317, it's lovely to have you. Welcome on in. Hello. Okay, gonna go ahead and glove on up. I'm gonna wash my knife, I'm gonna wash my cutting board, and then everybody, we will proceed with searing the pork. We're going to get some really beautiful caramelization on it. We're going to get a really beautiful crust developed onto it, and we're going to build a lot of flavor. So, let's go ahead and get that done. It'll take nothing but a moment. And as always, everybody, when you cook at home, you have to make sure that you start off with a clean kitchen. Make sure that your dishwasher is empty. Make sure that your sink is as empty as possible, because the last thing that you want is for your dishes to completely just overflow and into a big pile, and then it is a mess and you don't know what to do with it. So everybody, clean as you go, and make sure that you start with a nice clean kitchen. The most unenjoyable thing is coming back home from a long day at work, okay, and then you just have a dirty kitchen to cook in. Okay, and then you're in there and you're stressed out and your dishes are piling up and you have no space to put stuff, and then you're missing something because it's currently dirty and you have to fish it out and clean it. Okay, so please don't. Please start off with a nice clean kitchen and you will thank me later. So washing my knife off, making sure it's nice and sanitized, getting rid of all of that pork stuff on it. So John Dahlia, I would be considering an herb garden. The only issue is I travel a lot and I know almost nothing about botany. I know almost nothing about growing plants. I would want to probably go into it from a very scientific perspective, right? Where it's I don't really want to mess up growing plants. I want to understand why I'm doing certain things. And so before I establish a little herb garden, I think I would need to probably, I don't know, take some kind of classes. Maybe enroll in a community college, right? Something like that I think would be really fun to do. Okay, my knife is all nice and washed up, everybody. Once again, thank you for your patience with me throughout this process. I'm gonna go ahead and dry it off. This is a carbon steel knife. If I leave it exposed to the elements, either anything wet or acidic, it will rust. So if you have a carbon steel knife like me, it is imperative, it is absolutely imperative that you wipe it off. That you wipe it off nice and dry. With not even a little splash of water on it. Okay, excellent. So this is taking a second. Everybody, this is a new kitchen. I'm still getting a feel of the workflow in this new kitchen, so please forgive me for how long everything is taken. I don't have my full collection of towels yet, so we're still getting there. We have a couple of hiccups. And I'm just going to quickly go ahead and wash and sanitize my big old butcher block, because that is where we will be doing the rest of the vegetable prep for today. And so we don't want anything to come into contact with the pork, because of course that would be contaminating it, so we have to go ahead and clean that off as well. I could use another cutting board, but this is a big old hefty butcher block, so I'd rather much just stay using this one. And in order to do so, we got to go ahead and clean this bad boy off. So I'm going to go ahead and get that into the sink. Get a little bit of soap on there. And everybody, you can absolutely use soap on wooden cutting boards. Anybody that tells you otherwise, they're just talking about if you let the soap soak in. You just don't want it to stay with the soap. You don't want to leave it with soap for too long. You just want to, once you're getting the soap on there, you just want to wash it off almost immediately. Is everybody still listening? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please, and thank you. And Tarina, this is my roommate's butcher block. So it is new to the stream. It is also new for me. So I'm gonna just be going ahead and giving that bad boy a little wash. But when it does come to butcher blocks, when it comes to other kinds of wooden cutting boards, you don't want those to go into the dishwasher. The only kind of wooden cutting board you can put in a dishwasher is the kind that I used before. It was called an Epicurean cutting board. These are very resilient composite wood cutting boards. Also, Dolingo, thank you so much for the sub. It is lovely to have you. Missed you so much. Hope you're having an amazing, amazing day today. Okay, so everybody, once again, do not put other kinds of wooden cutting boards in the dishwasher. The only kind that you can is an Epicurean cutting board. Epicurean cutting boards are designed for it, they're built for it, they're resilient, but natural wood cutting boards, does not matter what it is, does not matter if it's a butcher block, does not matter if it's a cheap bamboo one, do not put it into the dishwasher. It will split it, the water is going to soak in, it's going to bend, it's going to warp, and this is how you keep your tools lasting a nice long time, my friends. So, got that bad boy all good stuff. Dosky, thank you so much for the gifted 12-month sub. My goodness. Thank you, thank you. And I'm just rinsing this off one last time with some nice hot water just to get all of the soap out and gone. There she is. And she's all ready to go through today. So everybody, once again, recap. How do you actually wash a wooden cutting board? You do not let it soak. You don't let it soak. You don't let it sit with the soap. You don't put it into the dishwasher. For a butcher block, for any kind of natural wooden cutting board, just clean it after it is used. It is so much easier that way. None of the food dries on, okay? And you can use soap. You just don't want to let the soap soak in, okay? Wiping that off, wiping it dry. Again, you don't want to leave this wet. You want to get off as much of the moisture as possible so that it doesn't soak in, so that it doesn't warp over time. Giving it a little wipe down, and it should be all set and all ready to go through today. And you can still use, you can still use meat on wooden cutting boards. Anybody that tells you otherwise, it's not very much so in line with a lot of health standards. It has been proven over and over again that wooden cutting boards can be fine for meat. Again, just don't let things soak into your wooden board. You don't want to leave anything like meat onto anything porous, right? If you're going to put it on there, just do it quick. So I wouldn't leave it for like more than an hour or so. Clean as you go. It makes your life so much easier, everybody. It'll keep your tools nice and fresh. Also, don't dry butcher blocks flat on the counter. They'll cup. Absolutely. In my case, though, there is no drying to be had because it really wasn't soaked in that heavily. So it'll be all ready to go for everything else that we need today. Okay. So, everybody, little recap session. The only thing that we've accomplished so far is we've managed to cut up the pork into some nice, lovely little cubes. Now, the goal is to be able to sear the pork. We're going to be getting it nice and golden brown. And in the process of getting it nice and golden brown, what do we achieve? We get the pork to be really, really deep and flavorful. Could we theoretically take the pork right now as it is and just throw it into the pressure cooker? Yes, but it'll only have the taste of boiled pork. The caramelization, my friends, the color that you get onto the pork itself, the brown that you develop onto it, it brings in so much flavor. And then in the process, we'll also be developing something called fond, which will be all of the dissolved and caramelized proteins on the bottom of the pot. So, everybody, I have here a nice big Dutch oven. I'm going to be doing this in a pressure cooker pot after. But the reason I'm using a nice Dutch oven is because it is a really good vehicle to get a nice good sear on something. It is cast iron, it holds in a lot of heat. Everybody, I need your full attention because I'm going to be teaching you how to properly use a Dutch oven. First of all, number one rule, never use any metal utensils on this. This is an enameled Dutch oven. This enamel coating is similar to that of a nonstick pan. You only want to use silicone and you only want to use wood. You never want to use metal because it will scratch and damage your coating. There are professional chefs that say that you can use metal tools on an enamel Dutch oven. And that is just not true. It will scratch it, it will damage it, and it will destroy it. Second of all, we never use a high heat. We go nice and slow, my friends. Nice low medium heat. High heat will cause hot spots and cool spots. This is a thick piece of metal. Okay, in order to get a thick piece of metal nice and evenly heated, you go nice, low, medium heat. If you blast it onto a high heat, you'll develop hot spots and cool spots that will damage the coating and your food will stick. So, The goal is to heat this up over the course of 5 minutes. Everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and take it. I'm gonna set it on now. There you go. And also, Dosky, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you, thank you. Really, really appreciate it as always. Everybody, nice low, medium heat on this thing. I never want to go too high. I never want to go too far with it, okay? Because once again, if our heat is a little bit too high, we're going to end up damaging the pot and we will develop hot spots and cool spots. This applies to stainless steel cookware, to cast iron, to any heavy pieces of metal. The key will always be to heat it up slowly. Okay, in my fridge, I have some leftover bacon fat. That's what I'm going to be using to sear the pork in, and then the pork will be able to release plenty of its own fat. We want to give it a little bit of initial lubrication. You can use any kind of oil that you would like. You can use any kind of butter. But the reason why I'm adding in a little bit of fat is because in the beginning, it does take a little bit of time for the fat to melt out. So it needs a head start. It needs a little bit of extra fat. And I have this lovely leftover bacon fat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a spoon. And we're just going to clean off any sediment that might be remaining onto the bacon fat. This was just some bacon fat that I had previously, but any kind of oil, any kind of fat would be fine. We only need a little bit of it, okay? So the only thing I'm doing right now, my friends, is I'm just making sure that I'm picking up some bacon fat that doesn't really have any debris on it. Because those little tiny proteiny bits, if you don't filter them out, they will just end up burning on your pot, okay? So a little bit of bacon fat goes in. Audio Murphy, you'll never give your money to Twitch? Well, that's okay. You do not have to. Nobody ever is obligated to subscribe or anything. In fact, the best way to do so, the best way to support, will always be on the Patreon. Okay? So when I said a little bit of bacon fat, I did mean a little bit. I mean probably just like 1 tablespoon or so. And that is just to give it a bit of a head start. I'm going to go ahead and get the spoon out of here and get this bacon fat back on into the fridge. I'll use this for some eggs at some point or another, I'm sure. Everybody, once again, heat it slowly. I have this thing on a 3 or a 2 on my gas stove right now. This is a really strong gas stove. You want to be so gentle with this. Gently heat it up. I cannot emphasize this to you enough, okay? And if you heat it up slowly, you will have it be nice and even. How many times have you had food sticking to your enamel Dutch oven? How many times have you had food sticking to a stainless steel pot or pan? Also, Kelly, Luna, and Froggy, thank you so much for the raid. Hope you're having a lovely day today. So, bacon fat is inside. The bacon fat is just gently melting. The bacon fat has a couple of particles left over, but that's okay. That'll be not an issue at all. And everybody, just heat it up slowly. I know I keep repeating myself. I know I keep saying it again and again, but it is so important. Also, Froggy, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Okay. I am going to go ahead and begin seasoning my pork. We're just going to be doing some salt, and the goal is to develop a really deep crust onto the pork. We wanted to get it nice and caramelized because that is where all of the flavor is, my friends. The protein gets dissolved from the liquid pushed out by the pork, the water evaporates, and will develop a lot of beautiful fond on the bottom of the pot. Okay? So, I'm going to probably need to move my butchery block for this. The pan is slowly heating up. Also, T, welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. And the new kitchen is treating me exceptionally well, I have to say. I love my new kitchen. Super low heat, heating it up nice and gently. I'm gonna just prop up my butchery block over here, and then we'll come back to that in a second. I don't have a lot of space in this kitchen to like move big things around at the moment. Okay. And here we go. This is all of my lovely pork. Okay, so everybody, what do we have here? This is my pork fat that I'll be using elsewhere. This is my lovely pork meat, and this is a big old pork bone from the pork shoulder that we have no use for today. The only goal that I have at the moment is to just get a nice thorough seasoning onto the pork itself. We just want to get some salt on there. We don't need any spices at this stage because they will burn over the course of building up a good crust onto the pork. Okay, once again, pan heating up super slowly, low medium heat. I'm gonna go ahead and just move that to the side. I'm gonna spread this out. And everybody, you might be noticing that I'm using a sheet tray with a wire rack on it. A sheet tray with a wire rack is so nice for seasoning things because you just have a lot of space, you have a lot of surface area, and then all of the excess seasoning just falls to the bottom of the tray, okay? So just taking that, just maneuvering that, just moving this guy around a little bit, just opening all of this up. Excellent. And now everybody, the goal is to get this nice and thoroughly seasoned. So the salt that I'm using today, as always, is kosher salt. Kosher salt is really, really coarse that it lets you pick it up with your fingertips. We're not using table salt because it's too fine and it easily falls away. So kosher salt, and we season it up from nice and high. When you season it up from nice and high, it makes a really, really evenly seasoned piece of meat. If you go super, super close to the piece of meat, your impact radius is a lot smaller. So by going up from nice and high, we can get a really nice, even season on the pork. And the salt is going to also be a part of the crust as we end up cooking the pork. Okay, take that, and we're just going to go ahead and flip each piece over. A lot of the seasoning is going to end up dissolving into the cooking liquid, so you don't have to be perfect with something like a braise. Okay, in this case, this will be more than acceptable, I'm sure. Also, man on the net, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Hope you're having an amazing day today. Everybody, as always, if you have any cooking questions about this dish, about something else, you can always ask me. My goal is to teach you all how to cook at home. My goal is to teach you all nice, convenient home cooking, okay? And how to make things really delicious and how to make things really, really special in a home setting. Okay. Kelly Loon, it's lovely to have you nonetheless. Okay, everybody. One side has been salted. We're going to go ahead and season up the other side of it. Once again, nice and up high, all the way around. Please and thank you. And this is a lot of pork. This is going to require a significant amount of salt. So do not be conservative at this stage. Be nice and generous. You want this pork to be nice and seasoned. We don't want to have any bland pork. So keep going, keep going, keep going. We want to make sure that it's all nicely and generously doused in salt. Okay, that is all ready to go. The pan has been slowly heating back on up. Hexeract, I'm glad that I made you hungry with the sight of raw pork. What did you have for dinner? Talk to me about it. Once again, my pan heating up super, super slowly. Nice medium-low heat. We'll heat it up for a few minutes more. And everybody, to get a crust developed on this pork, it is a relationship between heat and time. There is a really, really huge misconception that in order to get a crust on something, you have to take it and slam it onto the highest possible heat. Give it time, give it some patience. The fat is gonna slowly melt out of the pork, and you're going to see just how delicious it becomes. You don't have to rush this process at all. And the most important thing, you do not want to overcrowd the pan. When we add this pork, we're going to be needing to do this in 2 batches. If we add in all of our pork at once, it'll be nestled in so tightly that all of the steam that generates is going to get trapped and the pork is going to boil. We're not boiling pork, we're going to be searing pork. Okay? So, let's go back to the stove. Once again, my pan has been slowly but surely heating up with the bacon fat. I'm going to even give it a little rotation just to make sure that it is heating up as evenly as possible. Okay. You were sick the last 2 days, so is your first real meal? Well, Hex, I'm glad that you had a real meal finally. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this bad boy, get it all ready to go. And then everybody, again, this pan does not need to be screaming hot. It does not need to be smoking up your entire kitchen. Just heat it up slowly. The goal is to have an evenly heated pan, but not a screaming hot one. If you are experiencing stickage, it is because of the fact that you did not heat it up evenly. Stainless steel, cast iron, enameled cast iron, carbon steel, all of them become impressively non-stick when it's heated up evenly. But when you have cold spots, when you blast it onto a high heat and you only heat it up for a few minutes, the food will stick to the cold spots. It's not that you didn't have enough fat, it is that you didn't heat it evenly. I'm going to say this again and again and again until people finally surely get the message. All of those little particles on the bottom, that is stuff from my bacon fat before, so please forgive me for having a couple of, little specks in there. Okay, and we'll give it 1 more minute of heating before we add in the pork. It'll be perfect. It'll be all ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and have a little sip of water. And if anybody has any questions, this would be an excellent time to go ahead and ask me. Okay, we're keeping things nice and slow today. We're not rushing anything. As soon as that clock behind me says 5:44, we're going to go ahead and plop it in, and we're going to go ahead and get that thing cooking. And then while it's cooking, we'll be doing some of our other prep. We have some vegetable prep to get done today. We're going to be going ahead and really, really heavily braising it until the pork is all nice and tender and nice and beautiful. So, I think my oven clock is a little behind. Now it finally hit 5:44. Shai Chica, welcome on back. And everybody, let's get that pork inside. First, we do want to just make sure that the oil is nice and evenly distributed as possible. And let's go ahead and get it in. Nice, gentle sizzle, my friends. Gentle, gentle, gentle. It does not need to be screaming hot. This is a really thick piece of pork, okay? So if you were to go ahead and get it screaming hot, you will burn parts of the crust before the rest of the crust ends up getting developed. Do not overcrowd this pan. I'm going to make sure that I'm adding in my pork nice and evenly, nothing onto the sides. And everybody take a look, nothing is sticking. We added meat directly into the pot and it's just gliding around. That is why we heat it up slowly. That is why you need to listen to me, okay? Well, you should always be listening to me, but especially when I talk about something like this. Get it in there, and I probably have space for one last little guy. Get him on there and get it going. And everybody leave it alone for about 45 seconds and then we rotate it. Rotating the meat as you sear it is super, super important. Because if you don't rotate it, what's going to end up happening is you will have uneven crust development. You give it a few seconds, you give it a 30-second head start, and then we'll just start rotating it and moving it around, okay? Favorite pizza toppings? Man on the net? I just like it plain. I like a nice plain slice usually. I do like fresh mozzarella slices, those are really nice. Otherwise, I do like a nice onion and mushroom pizza as well. But I'm typically very, very simple when it comes to that. So everybody take a look. This is not an overcrowded Dutch oven, and you can see that it is gliding around. There is no meat sticking. That is the beauty of having good technique. So, that being said, we still need to rotate it. Everybody, you see the parts of the pan where the meat wasn't before? You see the empty parts of the pan? That's where you want to rotate your meat onto. You want to rotate it, you want to spin it, you want to flip it around. You want to make sure that all the parts that were previously exposed get covered up by the meat. And there's a very important reason for this. Because if you leave the meat all developing onto the same spot, the parts around it will be the hottest, and the part that is in contact with the meat will be the coldest. This is how you get the most efficient heat distribution possible, and you don't have overdevelopment of fond. Another thing, everybody, we want to develop that fond on the bottom. We want to get all of those dissolved proteins nice and brown. If you were to go ahead and slam this thing onto a high heat, the bottom of the pot will burn. That is why we have to go nice and slowly. And I promise you, you will be able to get a beautiful, gorgeous crust developed if you go slowly. You don't have to rush it, my friends. You don't have to rush it at all. I promise you that. Okay? So take it and rotate it and spin it around and put it all onto the previous blind spots and keep it going and let it do its thing. We want to get a nice, delicious crust developed because that golden brown color, my friends, that is where all of the flavor is, okay? That is where we're going to be developing all of that meaty depth. We could theoretically throw this all into the pressure cooker. If you would like a pork that tastes a lot cleaner, you could theoretically just pressure cook it just as is. But that's not what I'm going for today. That is not what I'm in the business of. I want nice, deep, flavorful, meaty pork, okay? So, just taking a second, had a few notifications to go ahead and catch up on really quickly. Wonderful. Chef, why is fond so tasty? So Tarina, that's actually a really, really good question. I don't actually think I have the exact answer for you as to why the Maillard reaction is evolutionarily, biologically delicious to us. I don't think I'd be able to answer that. I don't think I'm qualified to answer that one. It is for the same reason that caramel is delicious. It is the same reason that steak is delicious, right? Everybody, I'm going to be flipping the meat over. We have a beautiful crust developed on one side, but we don't want it to be too dark brown because we still have another batch of meat to go ahead and get a crust on. And if we get too much color on one side, that does mean that the bottom of the pot will overdevelop its fond. So, nice good crust going, nice good crust developing, everybody, and we're slowly rendering all of that beautiful pork fat out of it as well at the same time. We're getting that crust developed, it's going nice and slow, we're being nice and patient about it, okay? And then we'll get the second batch in, and then we'll be pressure cooking it. So, what else do we need to accomplish in the meantime? That's a really good question. I'm going to go ahead and get my butchery block set up once again while the pork is going. And everybody, the pork needs to pressure cook with a lot of garlic. I want an entire head's worth of garlic in there essentially. And so we can talk about why this is going to work, and we can talk about why this is not going to taste like a lot of garlic. So really, really important. I need everybody's full attention for this. A really important concept that you need to understand is that the more that you process garlic, the more that you chop garlic, the more pungent it becomes. In its raw state, it is a defense mechanism of the garlic. It produces a little something called allicin. The more that you crush it, the more that you chop it, when it is raw, the more pungent it becomes. Now, there is something that we can take advantage of here, which is not chopping it at all. By cooking the garlic whole, we don't develop any of the pungency. We just get a lot of its beautiful aromatic sweet flavors as opposed to any harsh pungent ones. Okay? And the magic of that is that we get to just show off another dimension of the garlic that we don't normally get to show off as much. So my goal for today, everybody, is to be breaking down this garlic, but keeping it intact. We're not going to be chopping it up. We're going to be using an entire head's worth of garlic, and it's going to make the pork really delicious. We'll also be having a few cloves of garlic in there that are chopped up for the pungency, but otherwise we'll be keeping it whole. That being said, everybody, we did develop a really, really nice, beautiful crust onto the pork. I'm going to begin transferring this over to my pressure cooker pot. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and begin getting that inside because we have another thing of pork to go ahead and sear. Again, we do not want too much crust developed in this initial stage. We just want enough that we get some of those delicious meaty flavors, and we have another batch of pork to do, my friends. So we have all of this lovely fond developed on the bottom of the pot. I'm going ahead and I'm transferring everything inside. Excellent. And I'm going to go ahead, heat that fat back on up. We just lost a significant amount of heat. Everybody, when I talk about the fond, I'm going to go ahead and show that to you right now. Okay? You can already see some of it on the bottom. Again, what is fond? Fond is all of the proteins that came out in the liquid as the meat cooks. The meat pushed out liquid, the water evaporated, and it left behind this. This is going to get dissolved back into some liquid, but right now, my friends, my goal is to get a nice good crust on the rest of the pork. So distribute the fat, make sure it is spread out nice and even, and we're going to go ahead and get the rest of it into the pot. Nestle it in, get it back in, nice and evenly heated, beautiful pot. Get it in, get it inside, get it in, and slowly cook it, my friends. Nice, medium, low. If your heat is too high, you will end up overdeveloping the fond before the meat has developed a crust. So nice and slowly. You can see that the meat is not sticking at all because we perfectly evenly heated it up. Okay, and that is the magic of it, my friends. That is the real, real beauty of it. Okay. So, excellent. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? We're going ahead and we're getting that crust started. I'm going to go ahead and just put probably my pork fat into the fridge. I don't think I'm going to be using my pork bone for anything. I'm not ready to make any pork stocks anytime soon. But I did forget, actually, one of my little pieces of meat. Out he goes. Also, hello Spike, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. We're making some delicious mojo pork today, or rather a mojo inspired pork. It's not exactly a mojo pork, it's just going to have all of the flavors of a mojo pork. So, getting that crust developed, we're going to be going ahead and processing up this entire head of garlic in just a moment's time. Chef, do I miss anything from the old kitchen? I miss how comfortable I was with the layout. I've cooked in that kitchen for 21 years of my life. Okay, and I really, really like being able to navigate the space. This is a new space for me at the moment, and so there's going to be a little bit of adjustment that does need to take place. Okay, so everybody, once again, rotate the pork, get it into the previous blind spots, move it around. That is how you develop a nice even crust, and you make the most out of the heat transfer. Okay, get it in there. Get it in there, move it around a little bit. Do not listen to anybody that tells you, oh, you must flip it once and never again. Do not listen to anybody that tells you, just leave it into the same spot. Everybody, keep it rotating. When you rotate it, that is how you get the most even crust. That is how you hit all the blind spots. That is how you avoid having pockets of overdeveloped crust and no crust at all, and it looks like boiled meat. Rotate it, rotate it, rotate it. I need to hear another yes, chef, please and thank you. I am going to go ahead and get my pork fat into the fridge. I have no use for that today, and the pork fat will be used at a later date. I think I'm going to try to render it tomorrow, make something really nice out of it. And pork fat can be used for so many different things. It can be used for desserts. It can be used for really just about anything. Cooking with animal fats is a really nice way to be able to really, really elevate a lot of different things that you do in the kitchen. Okay? So, let's go ahead and, nope, I'm not ready to flip it. Just to rotate it, my friends. You can see nothing is sticking. Not even a little piece of meat is sticking at all. That is because we evenly heated it. I know that I'm repeating myself. I know that I'm saying it again and again, over and over, but it is so, so, so important. That is how you learn how to use your stainless steel cookware. So many people, they say, oh, stainless steel cookware, you take it and you blast the heat on it, and whenever water just dances on it, that's when it's ready to go. Absolute nonsense. So, man on the net, you've asked me, have you ever thought about opening your own restaurant? And the answer is no. Well, kind of. And I'm going to explain to you why. I am not interested in a traditional restaurant. I think restaurants are very selfish concepts. They're either restaurants owned by people that went to like culinary school, or they're like a chef, and they want to be able to push their own creative agenda, right? They have like this own creative vision, and they want to be able to execute upon it. And the second group of people that open restaurants are restaurant groups. Here's the issue. Both of these models are innately for profit. In order to get good quality ingredients, in order to pay your staff well, your food needs to be really expensive. The only kinds of people that can go out to those kinds of restaurants are tech workers with too much money that are looking to go out on a Thursday or a Friday night, or on a special occasion for somebody once in a blue moon. Those are not the kinds of restaurants that I'm interested in owning. I want to be able to serve people. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to feed people. I'm not necessarily looking to profit off of that. And so as a result, I don't really want to have my own traditional restaurant. I have a couple of restaurant construct ideas that I can talk about that I think would be really, really functional in society, something that I think would be really, really useful and actually help people. But otherwise, I'm not that interested in owning my own restaurant. Okay. So this is doing its thing. Everybody, once again, when you cook at home, you have to have a nice, clean, empty dishwasher, nice, clean, empty sink, and you put stuff away as you go. It makes your life so, so much easier. Please tell me the sheet tray fits into my dishwasher. I'm about to be dismayed at the fact that my extra large sheet tray is a little bit too big for the dishwasher. Oh no. Everybody, I think it finally happened. I think my dishwasher can't fit my sheet tray. This is a tragedy. I think I'm gonna have to only clean this in the sink, which sucks, actually. My new dishwasher is a little bit too small. Oh well, I guess we'll live. Somehow, some way we'll live. We'll make it back. We'll probably clean this up at some point, not right now. I really, really loved putting my sheet tray into the dishwasher. That is gonna be something that I really heavily miss. Okay, everybody, that crust is looking amazing. It is looking nice and beautiful and nice and golden brown. Again, we're not looking to get a super deep dark golden brown on this. We just wanna get some nice crispy fat, some nice seared meat. Beautiful. That pork is looking phenomenal. And just keep it going. Keep it going, keep it doing its own thing. The key to developing a crust, everybody, is a relationship between heat and time. If you think it's not going fast enough, just give it some more time. Okay? So, let's go ahead and begin processing my garlic while my pork is going. I have my lovely head of garlic, and so everybody, we gotta go ahead and separate this whole thing. We're gonna get all of these cloves going into the mojo pork for today. So again, this might seem like a lot of garlic. We're using an entire head of garlic in today. But again, everybody, the key is to not chop all of it. The more that you process garlic before it cooks, the more pungent it ends up becoming. And so we can take advantage of that. We get to have that delicious, sweet, roasted garlic flavor. That is what roasted garlic is. It's cooked before it was chopped. It's cooked before it was processed. It's cooked before it was chopped. Okay? And as a result, you get some really amazing flavors. out of it that is not just like the harsh, garlicky, pungent flavor that many people associate it with. So, that's right. That sizzling sound is pretty lovely, isn't it? Okay, let's get all of those guys popped out. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and just discard these skins. Going to go ahead and just give my pork another little rotation. Rotate it, rotate it, rotate it inside of your mind. Keep it rotating, keep it rotating. Oh yeah, that fat is coming out of it. It's getting nice and crispy. It's looking beautiful at the moment, I must say. And we're continuing to develop all of that crust. Okay, everybody, we do not need these garlic peels though. So, my favorite way to go ahead and peel garlic is with the help of a little bench scraper. Now, you don't want to smash this into oblivion. Remember what I said, the more that you crush it, the more that you chop it, the more pungent it's going to get. So we just want to give it a light enough tap, the lightest of possible taps, everybody, just so that we can go ahead and just peel it open, just enough. You don't want to crush it, you don't want to smash it into oblivion. This is a new bench scraper I have. This is my lovely roommate's bench scraper. And we're going to do this with each and every single one of our garlic cloves. Light tap. Light tap. Okay, the lightest of taps, everybody. Light tap. Again, do not crush it too much. Otherwise, the pork will become so aggressively pungent from this quantity of garlic. The real key, again, is being super, super gentle. So keep going, keep it crushing, keep it smashing. Keep it smashing. Keep it smashing. Keep it smashing, and one last one. Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the pork. I'm gonna rotate it once more because that crust on the bottom is looking phenomenal. Just really, really make sure it is getting as even as possible. And that fond on the bottom is not scorching. That fond on the bottom is getting nice and dark brown. Okay, so back to this. Let's go back to the garlic, my friends. And each and every single one of these guys now has to get cleaned up. They have to get peeled. This is going to be a bit of a process. It's going to be a little bit tedious. If you don't want the smell of garlic under your fingernails, wear some gloves for the stage, or use a paring knife if you're French. Right, that's the very classic French way to go ahead and peel it. The more that you smash it, the easier it is to actually end up peeling it. But because we gave it a super light tap, that is why this process is so strenuous at the moment. So there you go. Lovely. Keep it going. Just keep all of it nicely and gently peeling. And this is going to make it nice and sweet. It's going to contribute so much flavor into the final dish, my friends. Do not be afraid of a little garlic, is all that I'm going to say. There you go. So much more to peel, so much more to still get done. Okay, excellent. I know this is taking a while, everybody. Once again, please forgive me. Also, Natalie, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Hello, hello, hello. The kitchen is reminding you of like the future chromed kitchen. I see. Or the future world when SpongeBob got teleported there. Squidward, rather. I don't remember that episode very well. Okay, everybody, I can tell you right now with some amount of confidence that the pork has developed the crust that we wanted. Okay, we are going to go ahead and get all of that pork right into my pressure cooker pot. Once again, I use my Dutch oven purely to develop a crust. I don't like using the Instant Pot to actually sear things inside of it because its heat conductivity is not all that good. It's not the best to go on a stove. It does a really good job pressure cooking. It doesn't do that good of a job doing other things though. So all of that pork, all of it goes inside, but everybody, do not forget about all of the stuff on the bottom of the pot. This is called fond. All of this really, really beautiful brown bits on the bottom of the pot is a lot of the dissolved proteins that ended up just sticking. So, how do we get this integrated into the rest of the stew? How do we get this integrated into the rest of the pork? The answer is to deglaze it. Deglazing is purely the process of taking stuck bits stuck at the bottom of the pot, pouring in a liquid. You can do vinegar, you can do wine, or in my case, I'm just going to do a little bit of water. We're going to dissolve it back inside, and then we're going to add that into the pot. Okay? So, Make sure that your heat is low enough. Make sure that you don't have too much oil at the bottom, because if you have too much fat, what's going to end up happening is it'll splash all over the place. Make sure it's nicely cooled down enough, and let's just get that water inside, my friends. Get it all in, get it in, and dissolve it. Dissolve it, take a nice wooden spoon or a nice silicone spoon, and this is called deglazing, my friends. Deglaze it. Take that water, move it around the sides, and scrape up anything that is stuck to the bottom of the pot. So automatically, you could theoretically use tea, but tea doesn't really benefit that much from extended cook time because it can taste almost burnt. You get a lot of bitter flavor out of it if you were to cook with tea like this. So that is why you could theoretically use any kind of liquid. Again, traditionally you would use wines, you would use vinegar, right? In my case, just a little bit of water to be able to get all of this nice and deglazed, and then into the pot. So get it all deglazed, my friends, get it all deglazed. Get all of the sides. Make sure that you have no stuck bits whatsoever. All of that is the flavor. That's right, Dr. Slowbro. You got it. All of this is the flavor. Make sure that you're not wasting any of it at all. Okay? Scrape it up, scrape it up, scrape it up, scrape it up. Get everything back inside. And this is why you don't use a metal tool. If you used a metal tool for this stage, you would have scratched and scorched your pan into oblivion. Be gentle with your tools. Nice wooden spoon. Get the water in there, get the sides, get everything that can possibly be deglazed. Okay, and it's all deglazed, and that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and get that into my pressure cooker pot, my friends. That's it. Nice and simple, nice and easy. Is my handle hot? The answer is it is indeed hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a mitt and a towel. So Audio Murphy, you said gravy? Absolutely. That is what gravy is based off of. A sausage gravy uses the fond of the sausage inside of it. That's what makes it really delicious and special. I'm going to go ahead and take it. And everybody, to make sure that it doesn't stick to the pot while you're dumping it in, the goal is to pour it really, really quickly. All of it in at once. If you go slowly, it will adhere to the sides of your pot and you would have ended up making a mess. Okay, so that is my lovely pork with all of that deglazed fond, right? All of it inside. I can go ahead and just show that to you now. Don't worry, everybody, we're gonna get better camera angles in the future. Now let's go ahead and finish up the rest of the prep for it. Okay, so back to this. We still have all of our garlic to peel. And then some of the garlic, again, we're gonna be crushing it to get that pungency. But the rest of the garlic will be intentionally kept whole. We're gonna be using an entire head worth of garlic today. Okay, so take it and peel it, and peel it and peel it and peel it. Get it going, get it all ready to go for today, my friends. We're keeping it really, really chill. There is nothing crazy to be done today. We're not gonna be doing a million different dishes. We're just gonna be doing the plantains and the pork. I love fried plantains. I love pork. We're gonna keep it really simple. Traditionally, with something like this, you would serve, let's say, rice, and you would serve beans, but truth be told, that would be a little bit much for my first stream back. So I wanted to keep it easy. I wanted to not overextend myself, and I wanted to take my time. This is, truthfully, a lot of garlic that we need to go ahead and peel. This is a lot. Wow. Okay, and I think we have 2 more cloves to go for today. So, garlic is going to come into 3 parts of the process. We're going to be making a finishing sauce. That is a little fly. I have some fruit flies at home. Please forgive me. Some of the garlic is going to go into the finishing sauce. That is just going to be 1 clove that is used for such a task. A couple cloves are going to be crushed and goes directly into the pot for it to cook. And then the rest of the cloves will be kept whole to add in all of that lovely sweetness, my friends. So, also WW and Scribblo, welcome on in. It is lovely to have the both of you. Chef, my housemate has GI issues and likes to eat bananas. She just ate 2 plantains. Tarina, yeah, you should actually, depending on the GI issues, plantains are not that digestible. Plantains, for like somebody that has like Crohn's disease, a raw plantain, I can imagine that would be like terrible. So honestly, it depends. You might need to. You might need to call somebody. Okay, everybody. I have all of my lovely little cloves of garlic. The only thing I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and just cut the butts off of them. Cut the butts off. We have no use for the butts. Get them out of here. Get them out. The dried off butts of the garlic have no place inside of my final dish. But yes, plantains, raw plantains, they are not edible because those starches are just not all that particularly digestible. Right? It is the equivalent of, like eating a raw potato is the way that it's best described. Okay, everybody, all of these cloves of garlic we're going to save one more actually for crushing. All of these whole cloves of garlic, we're going to add directly inside of the pot. Again, it's not going to be pungent because we didn't crush it, we didn't chop it. So that goes in, but 2 of the cloves, maybe 3 of the cloves, let's say 3 of them, will be used for the pungency, and 1 of them will be used for the finishing sauce. Okay, and that one we will be keeping entirely raw. So, everybody, as always, I have my favorite kitchen tool. Where is it? My handy dandy little garlic press. Not the same one as before. This is my roommate's garlic press that I am stealing for today's purposes. Let's go right to the stove and let's go ahead. Well, actually, I think I can just transfer it here. Let's go back here, my friends. Let's come back here and let's crush that garlic directly inside. As you all may know, I cannot stand chopping garlic. Chopping garlic is sticky. It is difficult. It is unpleasant. It sticks to everything around it and it is incredibly, incredibly inefficient. So I always, always, always prefer to use my garlic press. Again, why am I doing some whole and some crushed? It's because I want some pungent flavor and then I also want some amount of that really delicious, sweet, whole garlic, my friends. So in it goes, and one last clove, push it all the way through, push it in, push it in, push it in, get it all done, get it all nice and crushed, get it all into the pot. Lovely. I'm gonna go ahead and get all of that in, and then afterwards, we just have a couple more things to do. We're gonna juice some citrus, get that all inside, and get that cooking. So, scrape that off. Excellent. And I can probably just dump out the little piece of garlic that is stuck inside because a little bit didn't make its way inside of the pot. Excellent. That is all of our crushed garlic, everybody. That is that. And as always, never let your garlic press dry if it's dirty. You want to go ahead and clean it off immediately because if you leave it when it is wet and you leave it to dry, you're going to have a bunch of garlic inside of the holes that have dried. So take a nice little kitchen brush. The best time to wash it is now. The best time to wash it is yesterday. The same exact thought applies to blenders. You never want to let food stick and dry to the blender. So, garlic press is all nice and cleaned. I'm going to go ahead and throw that guy into the dishwasher. Okay, the garlic has been crushed, the garlic has been pressed. Everybody, all that we have left to do is to go ahead and add our cumin and juice in some citrus. Chef room is blue. Oh yeah, pseudo-natural. The tiles are blue and they're not red and black. Terrible, truly. An actual modern day tragedy. So come take a look. We have all of these lovely bits of pork. We have all of that lovely garlic inside of it as well. Okay, we have some of the crushed garlic and now we will do some of the aromatics. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that in. Let's go ahead and get that involved. Yeah, same thing applies to French presses. Guys, anything with a lot of perforations, anything with a lot of holes inside of it, you really want to be careful to just not let it sit out for too long as it is. Okay, so only thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm just going to go ahead and juice some citrus. Unfortunately, I don't have my citrus press with me. I left it back at my previous place and my mom is gonna go ahead and drop that off for me. But what that means in the meantime is I'm gonna have to go back to the old-fashioned method of using my hands, which I truthfully hate because it is a lot of effort and it is a lot of squeezing that I don't really wanna do that much, but we'll go ahead and get it done anyways, okay? We'll make it happen. So 1 second, please, really quickly. Okay, excellent. It's time to do it. It's time to do the thing that I've been dreading. It's time to go ahead and juice them, my friends. So we're gonna do 1 orange and 1 lime right now, and then the rest of the orange and lime we're going to be adding into the finished sauce. Basically, okay? Well, rather, I think we could just do both oranges in now. This is really similar in flavor to the seco de pollo. You see this all over Latin America. You see citrus be used in these kinds of contexts all the time. So you know what? We're going to go ahead and do both oranges right now as it is. Everybody, before we begin juicing them though, we will be going ahead and taking the zest. The zest is the topmost skin of a citrus. Can I please get a yes, chef, from everybody watching? The zest of a citrus has the majority of the flavor. The zest of the citrus has the majority of the perfume. But you don't want to go into the pith. You don't want to go into the white part of the orange. That is where a lot of the bitterness is. So we just want to be able to go ahead and extract the zest. We want to be able to extract the juice, but we want to leave all of the pit inside. Okay, and that way we will yield a really nice, delicious, really fruity, really, really aromatic sauce for this pork. So everybody, I have here a microplane. This is one of my favorite kitchen tools of all time. All that you're going to go ahead and do, in your dominant hand, you will hold the microplane. In your offhand, you will hold the citrus that you're trying to zest and use the full surface area of your microplane. Don't just use one part of it. Zest it. You can miss some of it. It's okay. We're going to have plenty of zest coming in, my friends. It's going to be really aromatic. Okay, and once again, leave the white part of the orange inside. Less is more. If you have too much of it, you're going to end up with a really, really bitter stew. Okay, so take it and zest it. 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 Take it and zest it, just like so. Mr. Microplane is back. That's right, really so back, everybody. So that is one orange worth of zest. And now let's go ahead and do the same for our lime. Everybody, take the zest and make an infusion of it into some simple syrup. That is one of my favorite things to do for cocktails. Sometimes I go over to somebody's home. I've done this a couple of times in the past where they've had almost nothing at home. And what I've done is, all I've taken is any kind of neutral liquor. If they have sugar and they have a lemon, all that you do is you peel off the lemon zest, you immerse it inside of the sugary syrup, you let that cook, and then you go ahead and you make a little cocktail out of the lemon juice, out of the lemon zest with the sugary syrup and some alcohol, right? The zest has so much aroma, it has so much flavor. Please do not sleep on the zest. Catherine Queen, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Welcome to the new kitchen. Also, Scribblo, I would love to get into gardening, but if I'm going to get into gardening, I'm going to go all out. It's going to be a lot of effort, so one day. Not ready to make that plunge quite yet, though. So, 1 lime and 2 big oranges. I want a lot of juice. I want to get all of that sweetness inside of my pork. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and slice these bad boys in half. And everybody, once again, tragically, I do not actually have my citrus juicer with me. I could actually really quickly, hey Vixen, do you have a citrus press?
I don't, sorry.
It's okay, thank you. Okay, we do not have a citrus press in that case. Tragic, but that is okay. I'm going to go ahead and just juice up my limes. I'm gonna go ahead and juice up my oranges. I'm gonna go ahead and get a nice small little mesh strainer, my friends, just to be able to catch all of the seeds as it goes down. And all that we're going to go ahead and do is use all of my strength in my strong, masculine, powerful hands to juice these bad boys into oblivion. Actually, oh, that's not so bad. Oh, wait a second. Wait, I can do that just fine. I did splash some of it onto my iPad that holds the Twitch chat at the moment, but this isn't so bad at all. Go ahead and juice it up, juice it up, juice it up. Let's get all of that juice inside, my friends. All of that delicious orange juice. Ooh, is it good orange juice? Ooh, that's some good orange juice. Okay, nice. No complaints about that whatsoever. Get this guy juiced up, juice it up, juice it up. We want to get as much of it extracted inside as possible. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? I'm going in there, I'm making sure that there is no little bit of orange juice left behind. In fact, I might actually just leave half of an orange for myself as a little snack, because everybody, quite frankly, I think I deserve a treat. Also, everybody, let's go ahead and do some housekeeping. If you haven't already done so, please check out my Patreon. You can type in !Patreon. My goal is to be able to do this cooking show full time, and the Patreon is the best way to directly financially support the show. You don't get anything in return from the Patreon. There is a little private Discord community. We also have a public one, but ultimately the Patreon is for anyone and everyone that just wants to help support what we're doing here. Okay? So going in there, juicing it up. My goal is to be able to do this full time one day, and I've had so many moving expenses that I could really, really benefit from it. Okay, this orange seems to be all juiced out. I'm gonna leave 1/2 of it for myself as a little treat, and this will be the last half that I will need to juice before we go on to the limes. Get it, my friends, get it in the, get it in the, go ahead and just squeeze it into oblivion, squeeze it to death. I am actually going to quickly rinse off my knife as well, because I did cut some stuff that was acidic, and I have a carbon steel knife, and if I leave that exposed for too long, it will rust. Also, Soylent, it is lovely to see you. Welcome on in. Welcome back. Everybody, we'll be back to the tri-weekly schedule. We'll be back Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, 3 times a week, as always. You already know. I missed you all so much. I missed doing the cooking show so much. It really messed up my eating routine, because in the process of moving, I was eating nothing but like takeout for like 2 weeks. And also because I was gone for a work trip, I was gone at CEO, I was commentating Top 8 of Brawlhalla. I ate nothing but takeout, and I am truthfully sick of it, and I missed my home cooking so much. So really, this is also for me, not just for you guys. Okay, I'm gonna quickly wash off my knife, because once again, it was cutting some acidic stuff, it was cutting the limes, and it was cutting up the oranges. And so I want to go ahead and stop it from rusting too early on. I'm going to go ahead and just grab a little paper towel. Smulchionetta, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Hope you're having an amazing day today. The show is back. We're back to going 3 times a week once again. This is our first stream back. Is rolling your citruses before juicing them a myth? Serena, honestly, it might be useful to do that with like if you're hand juicing it, but if you have a citrus press, it does plenty of it. The only reason why people say roll your citrus before juicing it is because it helps to crush some of the cells. It's not really a myth, but if you just have good juicing technique, you wouldn't even need to do that to begin with, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so just gonna quickly wipe off Mr. Knife and set him aside for a second. And we have now the limes. The limes, I notoriously hate juicing the most because they're so hard, they're so rigid. Okay, so let's get as much of that out as possible. We're doing the juice of 1 lime. We're not gonna overthink it. Some of the acidity does tend to actually go away in the cooking process as well. Normally 1 lime worth of juice in something is like a lot of acidity, but I think this is gonna be just fine as it is. So there you go. Everybody, my last lime. Normally this would take me no time at all. Please get a citrus press. I miss my citrus press so much. Okay, this is my last lime. My hand is so tired. My hand is cramping up. I'm so sick of this. Okay, and I do believe that I am done with this process. Excellent. Lovely. So everybody, what do we have inside? We have orange juice, we have orange zest, we have lime juice, and we also have some lime zest. Now, it is time for us to add the final seasoning for the pork before it pressure cooks. And then we'll also be making a finishing sauce. Everybody, I have here some ground cumin. Normally, I would only do whole cumin seeds. I don't have any whole cumin seeds. This is the only time you'll ever see me use ground cumin, so please forgive me at the moment. So we're gonna go ahead, and I'm not measuring because guess what? I love cumin, and I never feel like you can have too much cumin. Cumin goes inside, as well as some nice, delicious Mexican oregano, my friends. Okay, some fresh oregano would be really, really good in this too, but in my case, I'm just gonna be using some dried Mexican oregano. Okay, grab that bad boy. And this does seem to have a lot of the stems attached. So I'm going to go ahead and get a nice little handful of this stuff because I don't want to have any stems inside of my final product. I'm just going to go ahead and sort this out really quickly. And I'm just going to go ahead and just flake it, flake it, flake it, flake it, flake it. All inside, rub it between my hands. A lot of Mexican oregano, it does come stem on. So the best way to get those stems out, my friends, is just roll it in between your paws. Roll it, roll it, roll it, and you will leave behind all of the woody stems. Okay, and then your hands will also smell like lovely fresh Mexican oregano. Okay, I think that's fine. All of that goes in. I splashed a little bit of it, my apologies. Everybody, that's that. The last thing that we're going to do, we're not going to be cooking any of the cilantro, but we will be cooking in some of the mint. Mint holds up so much better to cooking than you would think. Some of the mint is going to go into the final like sauce almost, right? But some of the mint is going to go in now at this stage as well. So some lovely fresh mint. Going to go ahead and take it, and all that we need to do, my friends, is just pluck it off of the stems. Okay, we don't really want any of those stems. We just want to go ahead and pluck it and pluck it and pluck it and pluck it and get those bad boys out of here. Okay, I'm running out of space over here, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and quickly throw this into the dishwasher. I know we're taking a sweet old time with the pork today. So please forgive me for the pace of things. It is still a new kitchen for me. So let's go ahead and pick those leaves off of the stems, my friends. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. And the reason we don't want the stems is because the stems are a little bit too woody. They're a little bit too woody. They're not going to really break down in the cooking process. They don't really have anything to add aside from some amount of aroma. You could keep the stems if you would like. That would be really nice to do like a mint tea if that's your thing. I love doing mint teas occasionally, but in my case today, I do not need to keep it. So just going to go ahead and pluck it and pluck it and pluck it and keep it going. And I think this is going to be enough mint for us to cook with. The rest of the mint is just going to go into the final finishing sauce. Pluck it and 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 pluck it. Excellent. Everybody, all that I'm going to go ahead and do now. Chat, wouldn't mind a long stream? I don't think so either, Serena. So let's take all of our mint. Let's go ahead and bundle this bad boy up. Everybody, the goal, as always, we do not crush it. We do not destroy it. We're going to gently, gently slice it. So take all of your lovely, fresh little leaves of mint. We're going to go ahead and ball it up in our hands, set it down, and we're going to go ahead and get a nice, thin, thin, thin slice. The goal of the mint is for it to incorporate into the rest of the sauce. Not really melt in, but it will just contribute a lot of flavor. Normally, I wouldn't do a lot of extended cook time with fresh herbs, but in my experience, mint is able to hold up to that kind of long cook time compared to things like cilantro and basil. Basil is very volatile. Basil you never really want to cook with too long, but mint, on the other hand, is a little bit more durable. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get it sliced. Everybody, don't crush it, don't chop it. Use the full length of your knife and just slice it and slice it and slice it. We don't need too fine of a slice. It'll break down in the cooking process as well, right? So just enough. Just enough, just enough, just enough. Excellent. And a little bit more, and a little bit more. And one last pass through, and I think that will be perfect for my purposes today. The rest of the mint for the sauce is going to get really, really finely chopped up because the goal of that is to really incorporate in. So everybody, all of my mint, let's grab my handy dandy little bench scraper and get that in with the rest of our ingredients. And everybody, I think it is time for us to finally pressure cook. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for being patient with me throughout this process. I need everybody's full attention. I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching, please, and thank you. I'm going to go ahead and get all of this delicious concoction, all of this delicious mixture inside of the pot. And we need just enough water to not cover the pork, but just enough that it will be able to build up pressure and be able to cook accordingly. I'm going to show off the pot. We're going to recap everything that is inside of it one more time. I'm just going to clean up my bowl with some of the running water so that we don't waste any of the stuff that we left behind. There we go. And I think that should be perfect for our uses today. Get all of it inside. Make sure that the pork is almost entirely covered. If the pork is too exposed to the air, you're going to get parts that do not evenly cook. The goal is for this to cook as evenly as possible. If we have too much water, we will end up diluting the mixture too much. Okay? If we don't have enough water, the pork is not going to evenly cook. So, all of that inside, all of that ready to go. Let's go ahead and do one more recap session. Is an instant pot without electronics, or is that just a pot? There are pressure cookers that are not electronic, this case, this is an electronic one, so this will not be on the stove. Everybody come take a look. Pork. We seared it beautifully in a little bit of bacon fat. We added in some water to deglaze the pan, and we got a beautiful crust developed. Next, we added in some orange juice. We added in some lime juice, orange zest, lime zest as well. We added in some mint, like an entire head's worth of whole garlic, as well as a few crushed garlic cloves, some Mexican oregano, and some mint as well. We want to make sure that it is mostly covered. But if it is too wet, the water is going to be too diluted, and it's going to take so much time to actually reduce it down. Everybody, high pressure, 45 minutes. High pressure, 45 minutes on the cubes of pork. Pressure cookers are so nice to do braises at home. They do things really, really quickly. We could have done everything inside of the Dutch oven, but it would have taken a very long time that we do not have time for on the stream. So, pork shoulder, into my pressure cooker it goes. I'm gonna go ahead and cover that bad boy up. And everybody, high pressure for 45 to 50 minutes or so. The goal is to get the pork to a point where it is tender, where it is juicy, but it is not completely falling apart into shreds, everybody. So, why are we taking this pork and cooking it for so long? This is pork shoulder. It has a lot of connective tissue. If you cooked it like a steak, it would be tough and chewy and inedible. By using a pressure cooker, we're able to heat it up until the point that the collagen turns into gelatin and the whole thing gets nice and tender. Not all cuts of meat are designated for really quick cook times. Things like steaks, things like pork chops, those are very nice for quick cook times because they don't have a lot of tough connective tissue running through it. Is pressure cooker the way to go for oxtail too? So you can absolutely do oxtail in a pressure cooker. That being said, pressure cookers do have one really big consequence, and that is they don't do a good job of really big pieces of meat. Oxtail would be ideal because when you typically buy it, it is already in small pieces. If you were to have a whole chunk of meat, pressure cookers tend to overcook the outside because of how aggressive the temperature is. Pressure cookers work by taking it past boiling point. In a pressurized environment, water is able to exceed 100 degrees Celsius without evaporating. That is the very principle that all pressure cooking is based on. So with oxtail, because they're small pieces of meat, it would actually be ideal for a pressure cooker. So absolutely, Tarina, highly recommend it. So everybody, we made a bit of a mess. I'm gonna go ahead and put away a couple of things, gonna go ahead and get a couple of things loaded into the dishwasher because now is the best time to do so. Whenever you have a bit of downtime in the kitchen, this is called passive time. You need to learn how to make the most out of your active time, and you need to learn how to make the most out of your passive time. When you are in passive time, that is when you clean. Guys, don't go on your phone. Don't go and just sit on the couch while you have something cooking. This is the time to clean. You have momentum. You have energy. If you sit down now, you're going to end up with a big pile of dirty dishes at the end of the day. Now is when you want to go ahead and do it. Now is the time that you want to go ahead and clean. Okay? I cannot emphasize this enough because so many home cooks talk about why they don't like home cooking, and that is because of the cleanup. People don't like cooking at home because they think it is so much effort to clean. I don't like cleaning either. I don't particularly enjoy cleaning my kitchen. I think it sucks and it's also annoying. But now that I have momentum, now that I'm doing things already, do not sit down at this stage. That is how you make cleaning as painless as possible. And that is what I'm here to teach you how to do. Start with a nice clean kitchen, clean as you go. Do not leave it all until the end. If you leave it all until the end, you're just going to end up with a big pile of dirty dishes that you do not want to deal with. Now is the time that you want to empty your waste bowl. Now is the time that you want to put stuff into your cabinet. Okay, I'm done with the cumin for today. I have no use for more cumin. I have no use for more oregano. Let's get it out of sight. Let's get it out of mind. Let's put it away. We have nothing to do with it at this point. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and repeat that with every single one of my components that are no longer in use for today. So, please forgive me for cleaning as we go. This would be a really time to ask me any and all cooking questions that you may have. And we'll also snack on the orange, because I really want my orange right now. It sounds incredibly appealing to me at the moment. Okay, just going ahead, getting everything nice and put away, getting everything nice and cleaned up, throwing a few things into the dishwasher while I'm able to do so. Putting my tongs away because we have no more use for it either. And I'll refill my glass of water and have a nice little sip of it in the meantime. So, going ahead and just taking care of all of that. Now, my tongs just fell through the holes of the dishwasher. That is okay. Excellent. Lovely. And it seems like I have like some orange juice and stuff on the sides of my table that I can go ahead and also try to clean up in the moment as well. I have a lot of extra mint. I think I'm gonna make a mint tea with it at some point. Probably not today. I love doing mint teas. Anytime you have an excess amount of mint is a really good way to use it up. Also, everybody, the best way to keep herbs nice and fresh that I talk about over and over again, the way that I talk about it all the time, Tupperware paper towel on it. And I also have it nice and labeled of when I bought it. Guys, this is how you keep your herbs nice and fresh, lasting upwards of a week sometimes. How many times have you bought fresh cilantro, fresh basil, and it immediately goes bad? Do not listen to the people that tell you to keep it like flowers, to keep it in a jar with water. I don't understand why people really push for that method. Guys, Tupperware, paper towel after you've heavily washed it and dried it off, of course, and that is the best way to do it. I'm gonna go ahead and take out a few mint leaves, and this will be for the final sauce. We don't need too much of it. And then we're also going to go ahead and get some fresh cilantro out. If I could please close this Tupperware, please. I don't know why it's being a little stubborn. Thank you. And let's go ahead and get some fresh cilantro out as well. And this will all be used, once again, for my final sauce for the pork. Excellent. And let's go get these bad boys out. You can never have too much cilantro. This is Latin American cooking after all, everybody. You see cilantro used all the time. And again, this is not a traditional mojo pork. A traditional mojo pork is a roasted pork. It is done really, really nice and slowly in the oven with a pork shoulder. This is a braise. This is more a mojo pork inspired dish today. And that's okay. And that's fine. We don't have to exactly follow conventions. I'm here to teach you technique. I'm here to teach you how to braise tough cuts of meat so that they can all get nice and tender. I am not here to teach you exact recipes, and I never want you to follow what I'm doing exactly. I just want you all to be able to understand the reason of why we might do some things. Okay, so a couple of things got put away. These will be all of the herbs that will go into the final sauce for my mojo pork today, or rather my mojo inspired pork. I'm just seeing if there's anything else I need to go ahead and do away with at the moment, or we can go ahead and proceed. We have to do the final finishing sauce. We have to do the plantains. Frying the plantains is super simple. It's super easy, and I'll go ahead and walk you all through that process. Okay, but that being said, the one thing I do want right now is a little snack. I do want to get the rest of this orange, because I just think it would be a nice to have at the moment. I've been eyeing that orange down for a little bit, and it tasted really, really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and treat myself at the moment. And then I could theoretically also wash my sheet tray in the interest of cleaning as you go, but is my feeling at the moment about that. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and peel up my orange. I don't think I necessarily need to dictate this process as it is. But yeah, everybody, I apologize for like some of the camera angles and stuff. If you aren't already inside of the Discord, you should go ahead and join it now. ! Discord, we have a lovely community of people, or you can also scroll down and go into the About section. If you have any feedback onto the state of the streams, if you have anything, that is a really good place to do it. We have a suggestions channel. Now that I am all moved out, everybody, I'm going to be working on really heavily improving the quality of the show. We're going to be going ahead and getting more cameras. We're going to be improving our cameras. I am tired of this overhead webcam. That's a really good orange. Ooh, I was right. I should probably leave some for my roommate, actually, in that case. Okay, I'm gonna leave this for my roommate because I think I'm a really nice guy. Okay, I'm very considerate at times. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave this a little bit, and then the rest of it will be for me. It'll be for me, the chef of today, that is. So I'll grab a little condiment cup. And I'll set that aside. Yes, we will get a sync camera at some point. Everybody, I have a lot of really, really big plans. I want to get multiple shots. I want to be able to get a shot of the cutting board and the front shot all at once. Ooh. That's a really good orange. I want to be able to get a sync shot. I want to be able to get multiple angles on a stove. Everybody, this is going to become a full-fledged cooking show one day, and you're going to be all along for the ride. We're going to be improving our setup. I'm going to be first upgrading my computer and upgrading my cameras. That beep was telling us that the pressure cooker has officially built up pressure. And everybody, remember, meat as it cooks releases liquid. So if the meat wasn't fully covered in liquid, as it cooks, it will release plenty of its own, and then it will be nice and covered. So I've stopped making the mistake of putting too much water in my pressure cooker, is what I'm trying to say. Delicious. Excellent. So, pork inside of the pressure cooker at the moment. What do we have left to do, everybody? We got to make the final sauce for the mojo pork. We have to go ahead and also fry the plantains. The pork is going to be pressure cooking at high for about 50 minutes or so. We could probably pull it out at 40. We could always just check on it, and if it's not fully cooked, we can put it back in for longer. All that I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to begin plucking herbs. We're going to get all of these herbs ready to go into the sauce today. And even though the stems have a lot of flavor, this is going to be raw herbs in the sauce. I do not like the woody texture of the stems. It is unpleasant for me to eat. If you would like to keep the stems on in the interest of not being wasteful, go ahead, be my guest. But in my case today, that is not going to be happening. I'm just going to be going through this and plucking it and plucking out all of the stems. Okay, some people, they like to keep the cilantro stems, but I find them to be a little bit too woody, and I find them to be a little bit too fibrous for my taste. Also, Death Owl, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you, thank you. Hope you're having an excellent day today. It is lovely to have you. Okay, so just pluck it, just pluck it. Do what you gotta do, everybody. Go ahead and pluck those herbs and get those stems out of here. Death Owl, hope you're doing well. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Okay, go ahead and pluck it and get them out of here and pluck it and pluck it and pluck it. Excellent. Guys, I'm really excited for the pork today. Even though I'm not going to be serving it with some rice and beans, that would be like ideal for like a full plate. It's going to come out delicious. It's going to come out tender. It's going to come out sticky. The sauce is going to be really nice and flavorful with it as well. Or at least that's the hope. It's going to be excellent. So keep on plucking, keep on plucking. Let's get all of those stems out, especially for the mint. The mint, not even an option if you want to keep the stems on or off, everybody. The mint stems, they're super, super, super woody. Really don't like that texture. So get as much of those little guys out of here as possible. Okay? Pluck it, and pluck it, and pluck it, and pluck it. Also, everybody, I really do want to mention something. People do not wash their herbs enough. People buy herbs oftentimes and they just take it and then they maybe rinse it off under like a tap and they think that's it. Cilantro is covered in dirt. Cilantro is covered in sand. Mint, at least mine today, had a couple of bugs inside of it. You need to thoroughly soak it in some water. You need to submerge it in nice cold water and you need to do 3 to 4 passes until all of the sediment is gone. I'm telling you right now, just quickly rinsing it under a tap, as I've seen people do time and time again, will not do anything for you at all. You want nice clean herbs. Herbs are some of the dirtiest things that you can buy. They're covered in sediment, they're covered in soil, they can be also full of bugs. So do not skip out on this step at all. Okay, everybody? I have my mint, I have my cilantro, and now the goal is to get a really nice fine slice. I need to hear, oh, excuse me. Bird Trash Boy, thank you so much for the sub. It's lovely to have you. Everybody, I need your full most attention right now, please, and thank you. Okay, I need to hear yes, chef. I do not want to see you chop these herbs. One of my most hated cooking techniques that I see people do over and over again is the rock chop. They take their knife and they go brrrr and they grind it against the cutting board. Everybody, herbs are delicate. The more that you crush it, the more that you destroy the cells, the sooner it oxidizes, the sooner it turns brown, and the sooner it loses flavor. What you need to do is to slice it. You need a nice sharp knife and to use the full length of the knife, not a vertical motion. It is not a guillotine. It is a slice. So everybody take your cilantro, take it and bundle it up nice and tight in your hands. Roll it up in your hands, roll it up in your little paws, okay? Roll it up, roll it up. Okay, nice and tight. Set it down very, very gently. And everybody slice it. Minimal vertical force. Do not crush it. Do not chop it. Slice it. You have no idea how gentle I am being with the cilantro right now. This way, we get to preserve the cilantro. It's going to stay nice and vibrant. It's going to stay nice and bright green, but it is not going to turn brown. It is not going to lose all of its flavor onto the cutting board. Slice it. Everybody slice it. Minimal vertical force. I am not pushing down. I am not pressing down. I am just gently pulling and pushing my knife. I'm pulling it towards me. I'm pushing it away from me, but I am not doing any vertical force. I'm just letting gravity gently guide the knife down. I'm taking it and I'm giving it a bit of a rotation, and I'm going ahead and I'm continuing to slice it. And I'm slicing it and I'm slicing it. And the pork is pressure cooking, everybody, and slice it until it is all nicely minced. This is going to be used for a finishing sauce today. I do not want massive chunks of cilantro inside of the sauce. The force of a feather. That's right, Shai Chica, you got it. Okay, so take it, and once again, everybody, just bundle it up in your hands and slice it, and slice it, and slice it, and slice it with a nice sharp knife. My knives probably need a little sharpening, and that's okay, right? The pork is pressure cooking. We're making the sauce for the pork once it comes out. It's really, really nice to have like a nice stew, and then alongside it, you get this really fresh, vibrant sauce. That is always really special. Okay? Slice it, and slice it, and slice it, and slice it, and slice it. And that is exactly what I'm looking for, my friends. Nicely minced, not like a fine mince. This is a bit of a small mince. Rather, I'm going to go ahead and pass this through a few more times. And I think that is going to be perfect for my purposes today. It's not sticking to the cutting board. It is not bleeding onto the cutting board. It was just gently sliced. It was just gently, gently processed. I'm going to go ahead and add this into a nice little bowl. A nice heat-proof bowl, because this is going to be taking in all of the, you know what, I could use the bowl that I used before. Yeah, where I kept like all of the orange juice and stuff. I think I could use that and it'll be just fine. Let's not go ahead and dirty some more dishes. Let's just use the dishes that we have already. It doesn't need to be washed or anything. I'm just gonna go ahead and rinse this bad boy off. Get all of the previous stuff out of there, and then we'll just be building the sauce inside of this little bowl. And it'll come out perfect. Once the pork is done cooking, we'll take all of that liquid, we'll boil it down, we'll reduce it, and we'll add it in alongside my fresh herbs. So, all of the cilantro, my friends, it's going to go right inside of my little bowl, as well as my mint. Also, did I already put my garlic press into the dishwasher? I do believe I have. And we're gonna need that for the rest of the garlic. For the mint, to make it easier, we're gonna do a little something called a chiffonade. A chiffonade is just a fancy word for taking a bunch of leaves, stacking them up, largest to smallest, and rolling it up. It makes it a lot easier to process it that way. Go to dinner with the dishes you have, not the dishes you wish you had. That's right, Serena. Everybody, above all else, try to minimize the amount of dishes that you're using. It'll make your life so much easier. Okay, so take it, stack it up, roll it up a little bit, and this is called a chiffonade. And now, really, really nice, fine, thin slice, everybody. Thin, 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 thin. As thin as you can physically muster, my friends. The goal is for this to go into the sauce. We don't want this to be a garnish. We don't want big pieces of mint. So just slice it, and slice it, and slice it, and slice it, and slice it. Just like so. It'll be perfect. Also, Dakota, welcome on in. Long time no see. It is lovely to have you. Welcome to my new kitchen. Welcome to my new place. Also, first time on the new channel, I think, as well. I haven't made you VIP yet. My apologies. Okay, everybody, take it, run it back through. And once again, we're looking for a very, very nice, fine mince on the mint. We slice it. We don't chop it. We're not looking to crush it. We're not looking to destroy it. Okay, take it back in and go at it, my friends. Go at it, 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 go at it. Okay, beautiful, excellent. That looks lovely at the moment. And I'm just going to go ahead and add all of this lovely fresh, I could do finer. I'm being lazy. I'm gonna go back through it. Also, Dakota, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you for 3 months in advance too, at that. Okay. And I do think that this should now be just about ready to go inside of my sauce today. Take it, everybody, scoop it all up. Scoop it up, scoop it up, scoop it up. That's right, we have a lot of color. We have some orange, we have some green. And now, everybody, is gonna be time for Mr. Garlic. We're gonna do 1 raw clove of garlic, because garlic tastes so different at all of its different cooking stages. That is the magic, that is the beauty of garlic, everybody. Garlic, compared to cooked crushed garlic, cooked whole garlic, and then raw crushed garlic, they're all very different products. They all have something different to say. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass that guy through. This isn't the world's best garlic press. I might need to buy a different one. I'm sorry, Vixen. I'm gonna go ahead and just try to press that in as much as possible. I just don't have as much leverage in this garlic press as I would normally like. And let's go ahead and get all of that into the bowl. And we don't need a lot of garlic for this, everybody. We have plenty of garlic cooking in with the pork as it is. The point of this garlic is just for some of that fresh, some of that really, really intense garlicky pungency for it to all go inside. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean this off one more time. And get that thrown right back into the dishwasher, because now we will finally not need any more garlic today. So poke it out, poke all those holes, make sure nothing is stuck inside of it, because if anything is stuck inside of it, it will just dry up and become impossible to clean later on. So get it all out, get it all out of its system. Beautiful. Okay, so all that this has, everybody, is some cilantro. It has some mint inside of it as well. And then we also have the one crushed garlic clove. I don't believe that I really want anything else in this until we actually get to, well, the only thing is there's one more lime that we're gonna juice. We're gonna juice up half a lime. The rest of the lime is gonna be used as a garnish for today, but we want some of the fresh, really, really acidic lime juice to go into the final sauce. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just slice this bad boy in half. I'm gonna go ahead and glove on up for this because it is acidic and it will be really damaging to my hands if I just went at it completely naked. Okay, and let's just juice up half a lime. That's all that we're going to need. We have plenty of acidity. We have plenty of lime juice cooking with the pork at the moment. And it's all gonna be delicious. I just want some of that fresh lime juice. Everybody, this is a cooking technique that I love to embody, which is doing things two ways, showing off the different characteristics of an ingredient at different points in a cooking process. This is something that is especially prevalent with tomato sauces. When you cook a tomato sauce for a long time, you lose a lot of the fresh components, you lose a lot of the fresh aromatic vine aroma of the tomato, but you gain a lot of the sweet, robust ones. And so what you do is you add later on some fresh tomatoes just at the end. We're doing the same thing with the citrus. We have citrus cooking, but the citrus will end up losing a lot of flavor in the cooking process. So we add in some of that fresh citrus, and as a result, my friends, we have two things going on at once together. It's a lot of aroma, it's a lot of really, really beautiful flavor, all happening together. Okay? So that's all done. That's all ready to go. This is just waiting for the rest of the cooking liquid from the mojo pork. Well, once again, not exactly a mojo pork, but you get the idea at this point. I think I've done that a million times already. I've done that speech for you all. Okay, everybody, I think the last thing that we gotta do now is the plantains. We're going to go ahead, we're gonna process up those plantains, we're gonna get them ready to be fried, we're gonna fry them up beautifully, and we're gonna get them nice and crispy. I love plantains to death. Jojo Live, welcome on it. It's lovely to have you. You said, your knife technique is good. I struggle with protecting my fingers with such a fine cut. So, Jojo Live, here is my advice for you at the end of the day. We're going to talk a little bit about knife technique. We're going to talk about safe knife technique. Number one, we're always curling our knuckles slightly. This is called the claw grip. So the point is, if your knife accidentally damages you, it's damaging your knuckles and not the tip of your fingers, which can be really dangerous. The next thing is, we never want to lift the knife too high. If you lift your knife really high, guess what happens? You can easily hit your hand. I'm going to be demonstrating with the back of my knife purely to prove a point. But by keeping the knife nice and low, and we glide it along the edge of our knuckles, the edge is never in the contact with our actual fingers. Take a look, everybody. We're only just gliding, gliding, gliding. If you lift your knife too high, look what happens. The edge is going to go down your knuckles and it's going to shave your fingers. So the goal of good knife technique is to get so comfortable that you know the exact height that you can lift. Lift it too high, you'll shave your knuckles. Okay, or even worse, you'll go at your fingers like this, which is not what you want at all. Everybody, knuckles curled down, use it to guide it, nice chef's knife, and you slide, you glide, and most importantly, go slow. Go slow. You will build tempo with time. No musician started out learning at 140 BPM. You will not be able to build the technique that you need if you go exclusively quickly. You need to go slow. They do make cut-proof gloves, but Audio Murphy, let me tell you something right now. I think cut-proof gloves are important for those that need it. People with certain accessibility needs and also for children. I do not think that cut-proof gloves are very good because they make it a little bit more slippery to hold on to something, and the further degrees of separation you have between feeling something, the easier something can slip, the easier you might not be able to feel a knife's edge. Learning with your hands will be able to give you the correct technique. Training wheels are purely to build confidence. Training wheels do not teach you how to stabilize a bike. Cut-proof gloves, similarly, do not teach you how to similarly stabilize the knife and get it nice and lined up. Okay? So, these plantains are going to be deep frying, essentially. They're going to be shallow frying in a good amount of oil. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe down my surface. If I'm cutting plantains on a wet surface and we add them into some hot oil, you can imagine what's going to happen. They're going to splash up and they're going to create a really, really big mess. Okay, so I'm just making sure that my surface is nice and dry. And then everybody, let's talk about my beautiful, my beloved, my lovely plantains. These are almost at the stage that they would be called maduros. I am very new to cooking plantains. I love eating plantains though. Plantains are not interchangeable with bananas. Plantains are not edible when they're raw. The starches, similar to a potato, are not all that digestible. But plantains, they fry up beautifully, they get super crispy. So, for those of you that may see this and might go, wait a second, that looks like it's spoiled, that looks like it's over-ripened. Absolutely not. If anything, it is under-ripened. I'm going to teach you about plantains. Plantains, in so many different cuisines, of course, most commonly used in a lot of African cooking and a lot of Latin American cooking, it is used absolutely everywhere. Right? The biggest thing that you need to keep in mind is that plantains are sold and cooked at different stages of ripenesses. You have green plantains, yellow plantains, spotted plantains, and then fully black plantains. This is somewhere between a spotted plantain and a fully black plantain. The further it matures, the further it ripens, the sweeter it becomes, the slightly softer it becomes as well. It tends to soak up a little bit more oil as well. Okay? Green plantains are not sweet at all, similarly with a banana. What happens is, plantains in the ripening process, or bananas, same thing, they go ahead and they release a little something called ethylene gas. Also, Thilalka, thank you so much for the prime sub. Thank you, thank you. The plantain itself reacts with the ethylene gas, and then some of the starches get converted into sugars. That is the process of ripening. So how do you ripen them? You put them into a paper bag. So, Tarina, you know what you said about put them in a plastic bag and they go from maduro to moldy? You want to put them into a paper bag. Put them into a paper bag, and you want to maybe keep it sometimes upwards, depending on what stage you bought it. It could be a couple of weeks, okay? Let them slowly mature, let them slowly ripen. Now, ideally, you would want to make something called maduros. Just like the women that I love in my life, it means mature. These are fully ripened plantains. They would be completely, just like fully ripened. This one is still a little bit spotted. This is not as mature as I would like. I would have ideally wanted it to be completely black. That would give us the sweetest possible plantain, and that would then be cooked for what is called a maduro. I don't have fully black plantains at the moment. This is the best that I could. Okay, Taza, I'm sorry that I wanted to talk about how much I love older women and make a joke about maduros and mature and older women. I apologize. So shoot me, I suppose, okay? I was smiling. I was excited about it. Leave me alone, okay? It is my, anyways, sorry. My roommate could hear all of that probably. I think Vixen has the stream on. Plantains, I have two of them. They're nice and mature. They're nice and sweet. They're not as mature as I would have liked. And we're going to go ahead and cut them up and get them ready to be fried. Okay? We're gonna go ahead and get it ready. Maduras, but I get you, Chef. Shachika, I feel like I've only seen it spelled with an O. Okay, everybody, we're gonna peel this just like you would a banana. I like to go from the base up, but sometimes it could just like splinter off like that, in which case, we're just gonna go ahead and grab some gloves. We'll make a little incision to be able to help peel up the plantain. This is like peeling a banana. I don't think I gotta teach you guys how to do this. It's not too difficult. We just don't wanna get any of the fibers, okay? Actually, can somebody fact check me on this? Is it maduros or maduras? Okay, so go in there, make a nice little incision. Don't go too deep into it or anything. And peel this bad boy up. Peel it up, get it out of there. That's one lovely plantain. Again, everybody, not interchangeable with bananas. I believe plantains are a cultivar of bananas, if I remember correctly. Right, so they're really similar, especially in some of their taste, but they do not cook the same. They are not the same thing at all. So do not be fooled. Okay, with their similar-ish appearance. There you go. That is the second plantain, nice and peeled up. All of the fibers nice and gone. Both, Chef? I see. Okay, so maduras and maduras, both of them are valid. I see. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and just pinch off the tip just to be able to get rid of that. It's the same exact thing as a banana. Make sure that I don't really have that many herb chunks on it. And so the ideal width is gonna be 3/4 of an inch. We're gonna be cutting it on a slight diagonal. I'm gonna just be trimming off the tops and the bottoms just so that we get a nice even cut on my beautiful little plantains. And again, these are not going to be maduros. These are not going to be as mature as I would have liked, but it is still going to come out nice and delicious, my friends. So we're going to go in nice 3/4 of an inch slice. If you do it too thick, it's not going to cook in time. If you do it too thin, it's going to soak up too much oil. Okay? So nice 3/4 of an inch slice. Beautiful, beautiful. Chef, about Plantain's sweeter cousin, is cutting off the banana ends necessary? I mean, it depends. Most people, they don't really cook with bananas. Most people, they just kind of eat bananas as it is. I just chopped off the ends just to make it easier to slice. If you're doing like a salad, if you're doing like a fruit salad, who cares? In my case, I just wanted nice, even, beautiful, beautiful slices of plantain all the way through. Okay, I think these guys are a little too thin, but that'll be okay. It'll be not a problem at all. And we'll go in and slice these bad boys up one more time. These guys are a little bit bigger. It's going to be quite a few batches of frying. We're going to be basically shallow frying them in a good amount of oil. So, everybody, the temperature and the way that we cook these plantains is really, really important. Okay, if you start off on too cold of an oil, the plantains will stick to the bottom. If you start them off on too high of a heat, they're going to end up burning before the insides get done. The plantains need to take about 8 minutes in total to fry, if I remember correctly. But I'm going to cross-reference this just before I go ahead and go at them. Okay, nice lovely little cross sections. Get all of that set up. Get all of it ready to go. Get all of it ready to be fried, my friends. Okay, all of my lovely little plantains. And now I don't think I'm going to need my knife anymore. I'm going to go ahead and wash this bad boy off one more time. And we're going to get our pan out, and we're going to heat up some oil, and we are going to begin frying my beautiful, my lovely, my gorgeous plantains. Now, because of the fact that these will be shallow frying, we will not be adding salt at this stage. If you add salt at this stage, most of the seasoning is just going to end up falling out of the plantain. Instead, everybody, all that we're going to go ahead and do is we're just going to toss it with some salt, basically as soon as it comes out of the fryer. Okay? Or out of the pan, that is. So those are all of my plantains. All we need to do is hit it with a little bit of salt. And again, ideally, you would use maduros. You would want to ripen the plantains in a paper bag until they look like they're rotten. Not white mold, of course. You will get mold if you do it in a plastic bag, but you want them to be pitch black, my friends. That is how you get that delicious, sweet, deep, caramel-like taste of a plantain, and it can be really, really amazing. It can be really special. Also, G-Spank Gaming, you need a lot of arsenic from the apple seeds for it to actually have a pronounced effect on you. Okay? So, it is time for us to go ahead and fry up some plantains, my friends. I'm going to go ahead and get a nice wide vessel so that we can go ahead and fry as many of them at once as possible. This is going to be extended frying. Ideally, you would want to use lard. Also, look how nice this shot looks. Look how nice it looks now that we don't have a pot. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get a nice generous amount of oil inside of the pot, my friends. I sure do want to wipe this off one more time just to make sure that it's nice and dry. How's the cooking going, Meek? It is going amazing. We're about to go ahead and fry up some plantains. And it's going to come out delicious, and it's going to be amazing. I love fried plantains. I'm really, really new to cooking with plantains. I want to be able to experiment with it more. I will say I don't really, really like green plantains all that much. I don't like green plantains. I love the really, really sweet ones. Okay? So, the goal, everybody, we started off on a medium-high heat once the plantains go in, and then we lower the heat as it cooks. You start off on a high heat to stop it from sticking in the beginning, and then you drop the heat to let it slowly cook. If your heat is too high throughout the cooking process, you are going to end up with a really, really weird burnt plantain on the outside and raw on the inside. You know, I do have like some amount of like debris stuck inside of this pan at the moment, and I'm wondering if it would be best for me to either use a different pan or for me to just clean this off. Nah, I don't care. I don't care. It's fine. Everybody, you want to use a really, really just clean oil for this. You don't want to use olive oil because olive oil will burn and it will really perfume the plantains with olive oil, which will be a little too dissonant. You don't want to use butter because butter will burn. In my case today, I'm going to be shallow frying this in a good amount of canola oil, my friends. You want enough canola oil that it's going to go ahead and just gently, gently cover it up. Ideally, everybody, if you have some lard, that would be perfect. Also, keep in mind that the canola oil is going to increase in volume when we do add in the plantains. So how much did I add? I have no idea. All that I know is that I have enough for what would be a shallow fry. Okay. Also, I don't think the camera is doing the camera glitching thing again. Chef anti-shallow frying, chef shallow frying plantains. G-Spent Gaming, I don't like shallow frying breaded things is what I'm trying to say. There is no better way to fry a plantain though. Okay? But I am absolutely anti-shallow frying. I feel like it's really, really uneven. Because plantains are small and in little chunks, you get to move them around. I think shallow frying actually works out perfectly with them. So, normally I'm a shallow fry hater. In this case, this is the one thing that I think is actually quite well designed to be shallow fried. So, let's already think about what it's going to come out into. Can plantains be breaded? Well, yes, Serena, but I have an opinion here. And it is the same opinion that I have about breaded fries. Everybody, I have a question for you. How many times have you gone out to get a fry and you get these fries that are coated with a crispy coating on the outside? Not the potato, but it is specifically the cornstarch that they add onto it. Okay? It is the cornstarch. It is like the slightly orangey coating. It is crumbling off of the potato. How many times have you seen that? I want to hear a nice me, chef, if this has happened to you. Okay? I'm curious. I would love to know. That's Serena. That's one. How many more times? Excellent, right? You've seen it a couple of times. And so, I'm going to say something right now. I know that that is a way to cook potatoes. But I think it sucks. I think it sucks. And it makes no sense to me. Because potatoes, plantains, they're starchy, as it is. If you do it well, if you know how to cook it correctly and manage the natural starch over the potato, over the plantain, you can get a beautiful crust developed on it without the need of excess starch. Cornstarch is a crutch. It is a crutch for food service that doesn't know how to properly make crispy French fries. And in order to be able to sell it as crispy French fries, that is what they do. They coat it with cornstarch on the outside. I understand that it can be a stylistic choice, but I don't actually really like it as a stylistic choice. I don't think it's nice that way. I love a potato, the crispy starch of the potato on the outside, if you do it well, if you do it slowly, the crispy starch on the outside of a plantain. So the answer is, yes, I see people do that, and I do not like that method. I do not like it one bit. It feels like a crutch, and it feels like a cop-out, above all else, when it does not need to be that way. You can get it crispy. You can get it beautifully done. You absolutely can, my friends. Okay? And you don't need the addition of the cornstarch to be able to make it that way. I do sincerely, sincerely think that it is, I do sincerely think that it is a crutch. So, that's my answer. Hope that answers anybody's question on how I'd feel about that. I really, really don't like it. And I feel the same exact way about like sweet potato tempura. Although sweet potatoes are different. Sweet potatoes, the biggest, okay, I'm gonna actually walk back on this really quickly. Sweet potatoes do need, they do actually explicitly need the starch on it because sweet potatoes don't get crispy on their own. Sweet potatoes, they do need the starch on the outside so they don't soak up any of the oil. So sweet potatoes would be the exception here. But if we're talking about traditional potatoes, if we're talking about traditional plantains and stuff, right, they can get nice and crispy on their own, my friends. I promise you that. Okay? So, really simple. We're just gonna go ahead and get our oil nice and hot. We just want it to be gently, gently shimmering at the stage. We're also gonna go ahead and get a little station ready. We wanna be able to dab out some of the oil once it comes off because it's gonna soak up a good amount of the oil. I've not figured out how to use small stainless steel pans like that. I must be using too much heat. Jojo, come here. I got an answer for you. The answer is to heat it up slowly. If you heat it up quickly, you will develop hot spots and cool spots. You might be using too much heat, but the key is to heat it up slowly for a long amount of time. Now, that doesn't matter as much if we're shallow frying, because we don't really care about the bottom of the pan. We only really care about the oil temperature, and the oil will help to evenly heat the pan as well. But if you're sauteing, if you have a little bit of fat in there, if it's cast iron, if it's not, if it's stainless steel, if it's a Dutch oven, whatever, I'm telling you right now, the key will always be to heat it up slowly and heat it up with the oil inside of it. That will yield you the results that you are looking for at this stage. Okay, everybody, let's now think about the drying station and what I'm going to go ahead and do for it. I think, personally, I'm not going to try to do the paper towel method for today. I'm going to try to just take it out onto the sheet tray itself and see how that comes, see how that goes. I'm going to just rotate that so I have a little bit more space here. And everybody, we're just heating up the oil until it is nice and shimmering. Again, the key is the balance of the oil. I don't have an exact oil temperature for you. If the oil is too hot, it will end up burning the plantain before the inside is cooked. If the oil is too cold, you're not going to develop a crust in time, and the inside is just going to soak up all of that oil. It is a gentle, gentle balance. Otherwise, frying a plantain is really, really easy. I do sincerely believe that it's easy. Okay? So it just takes a little bit of time. You'll get there, my friends. I promise you. We're just going to go ahead and get that oil nice and shimmering. You absolutely do not want it smoking. And make sure to use a neutral oil. You don't want to use olive oil. And as far as refined oils go, I hate corn oil. Corn oil has a nasty smell to me. It has a very, very unpleasant taste. I don't think corn oil has a lot of places in the kitchen at all. I feel like corn oil is a taste that you're always trying to mask more or less. Okay? So, everybody, I believe that my oil has officially hit the shimmering stage. And you know what that means? It is time for us to begin lowering in all of my lovely little plantains. I should have probably put that onto a plate first, which I'm going to go ahead and do right now. Again, you do not want that oil smoking hot, my friends. You don't want it smoking hot. You just want it hot enough, so that we can develop the crust on it. That's right, we're making some platanos, we're making some plantains. Ideally, I would be making maduros, but my plantains were not mature enough. Tragic for such a task. Another time, yes though, they would be perfect. So, let's get it in there, everybody. Nice, beautiful, gentle little sizzle. All of it inside. Let's plop these bad boys in, plop them in, one by one, nice and gently. And the oil needs to be hot enough so that they don't stick to the bottom of the pot, so that we're able to develop that beautiful crust onto them. One by one, I'm not submerging my silicone tongs into the oil. That will damage the tongs. And everybody, do not overcrowd this pan either. If it is overcrowded, you are going to end up with a bunch of steamed plantains that do not develop a crust evenly. So the key, I'm going to probably be able to fit at least two more of these little guys, goes right inside. And everybody, 2 minutes on the first side, 4 through 6 minutes onto the second side. The goal is to heat these guys up. The goal is to cook them. And I'm just going to set my timer, 1 and 2. Let it go. Give it a little shake just to make sure that it is slightly detaching from the bottom, but don't splash the oil anywhere. And this is going to be cooked in 2 batches. After it comes out, we're going to be hitting it with the salt. We're going to be getting it all nice and seasoned. And I got to say, that looks pretty damn good. So that's all. Cook it for 2 minutes onto this first side, everybody. I'm going to go in there with a fish spatula if I feel like it is stuck on the bottom of the pot. We're just going to give it a little shaky, little shake, little shake, little shake. And you can see that it is developing. You can see that it is becoming really, really nice and beautiful at the moment. I'm just going to go in there, give them a little nudge, just to make sure that there is no stickage whatsoever. And the answer is there is not. That looks perfect. These were cut thin enough. I think last time I did plantains, I cut them a little too thick. Everybody, this is only my second time cooking plantains. I love plantains. I love plantains to death. I am ashamed of myself for how little I actually have cooked with them before. But my goal is to get more just into it. Chef, what is my opinion on induction burners? Really good question. Pseudo-natural. I'm not good with them. I haven't been trained on induction burners very much. But they are really, really, really energy efficient is the nice thing about them. They're super, super energy efficient compared to electric stoves, compared to gas stoves. They heat things up really, really quickly. I just love gas. I love open fires, that is. One day, everybody, in my ideal world, you know what I'm going to have? I'm going to go ahead and have a wood-burning stove. That is going to be my dream. I'm going to have a beautiful wood-burning stove, and it's going to come out, and it's going to be amazing. So give these bad boys a little shaky, my friends. Keep it frying. Keep those beautiful platanos frying up, and we're going to go ahead and develop that crust. Take them off, hit them with a little bit of salt, and then that's it. These are super simple. Ever had Venezuelan arepas, chef? I sure have. I love arepas. I love arepas to death. Although I'm not sure if I've had Venezuelan ones or other kinds of arepas, because arepas are eaten all over Latin America, right? So I don't know if explicitly Venezuelan ones, but I've definitely had many arepas. So everybody, we're going to take these plantains and we're just going to gently flip them over. They're not fully developed on the first side still, and that's okay. The oil is piled up high enough that it will continue to develop as it cooks. Okay, we'll shake the pan every now and then, we'll get the oil back in there, and if we need to, we'll flip them back over onto the first side. Okay, so flip these little guys, and flip them over. The tongs, I think, will mash them up a little too much. That's why I'm not using my tongs right now for this. I'm just using my fish spatula to get in there, to just make sure that they're not stuck to the bottom of the pot or anything. Everybody, it's still gonna need extensive amounts of frying. All of that is still to be had at the moment, okay? I do believe that was all of them now beautifully flipped over, okay? And give them a little shake, and keep on frying these really beautiful plantains, my friends. Shake them up, shake them up, shake them up. And I think this is going to be about 4 to 6 minutes. Chef, would I do this frying method for torikatsu? So I know katsu means cutlet, but I don't know what torikatsu is. I'm afraid. What does the tori part actually mean in Japanese? Okay, setting a timer for 40 minutes, but everybody, we will just simply adjust the cook time as needed. Okay, 40 minutes. There we go. The timer works a little differently than at my previous kitchen. So yeah, keep it going. Tori, okay, so if we like a cutlet. Okay, so I'm actually going to say something right now, and I'm going to say something that's really controversial. When I said I hate shallow frying, I meant it more so in the context of frying cutlets. Oftentimes, when you would fry a cutlet, when you would shallow fry it inside of a pan, you create as much mess as you do deep frying it. The only thing is you save on the amount of oil that you have, and you get really uneven cooking. I personally think that for cutlets, the optimal thing will be always to deep fry it. You have so much oil that it doesn't lose the temperature. The reason why plantains work very well is because it's in little pieces. Now imagine this. Imagine we had a massive cutlet laid onto the pan. You're going to get so many cool spots. You're going to get so many hot spots. You're going to get pools of oil that don't circulate around because there is no transfer of oil. The reason why plantains are ideal for this is because they're a bunch of individual pieces. Now, in that case, that having been said, I imagine something like chicken nuggets would be ideal for like a shallow fry, little nuggets of meat. But something like plantains, also really nice for shallow frying, but whole cutlets, I have to say, I have become a hater. I have become a shallow fry hater. Everybody, while this is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and wash up my microplane. My microplane is all done for today. Everybody, please say thank you to Mr. Microplane as I just quickly clean that up and get them all out of here and all ready to go to be put away. My pork is cooking. My lovely, beautiful plantains are frying up nicely. They're getting some really awesome color on them, my friends. And the goal is to be able to cook them until they're like a pretty deep brown. The smell is now coming out. It smells excellent. Everybody, I love plantains, and so should you. Just gently fry them. Gently go at them. Give them a little shake just to make sure that they're all nice and submerged, that they're all nice and colored, right? Nice and covered by all of the oil. All right, and it's gonna come out really nice and special. I love plantains, and so should you. Okay, where is my paper towel? There it is. So everybody, what do you think? For the first stream back, I think we're doing pretty okay. This is my first time making a full meal in my new kitchen too, by the way. I made like some eggs, I made some instant ramen because I love instant ramen to death. But this is my first time actually like making a meal in here. And so, I think in retrospect, that was a little stupid of me. I think I should have probably not done that, but that's okay. I should have probably given it like a bit of a better test run, I think. But it's all working out, it's all good. So when's the barbecue coming? Give me a few months. And then we might be able to do some autumn barbecuing. That would be a vision that I have. Guys, because now that we're at the new place, we're gonna be making some serious improvements to the quality of the cooking streams. That I can promise you right now. what we have right now is good, but for me, it's not good enough. I want to be able to make something really, really special. I want to be able to have the best cooking show of all time. We're going to be upgrading the cameras. We're going to make some really special stuff, okay? But at the moment, right now, my goal is just to be able to settle in for the new place. My goal is to settle in. So the point is, don't expect barbecuing, don't expect grilling anytime soon, unfortunately. You still gotta give me a little bit of time to catch up, guys. Beautiful little plantains. We'll probably flip them over and fry them a little bit more on that first side. But they're really, really delicate, everybody. So chopsticks would be a really, really nice way to go ahead and flip them over, which I'm going to go ahead and grab right now. Because the chopsticks, unlike the tongs, they don't smash them in as much, okay? So I want to develop a little tiny bit more color on the first side here. But these plantains, I have to say, everybody, that is beginning to look really, really delicious. This guy, that is perfect. Everybody, you can really, really push the plantains. You can really, really push them. All right, that is perfect. Those are not burnt. That is exactly where I wanted that side to be. And so I'm just going to let this side catch up a little bit longer. And then we'll fish him out, hit him with some salt, and then she will be all ready for us today. The oil stays nice and clean. There's no breading that falls out of it. Frying plantains is one of the best things that you could fry in batches, truthfully. There you go. Everybody, look at those plátanos. Look at them. Look at them going. They're looking beautiful. They're looking perfect. They're looking gorgeous. And they're getting that delicious color onto them. That is what a delicious plátano looks like. That guy needs a little bit more time. Also, Ali, welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. Look at those plantains. Gorgeous. Okay? Thank you, Ali. I really, really appreciate it. Hope you're having an excellent day today. And again, this is not going to take that much more cook time, guys. All that I really wanted to do was just to get some color cut up onto the other side. Take it, dab out the oil. In fact, I think now the fish spatula would be the best tool. But remember, they're super, super delicate. So don't smash these guys up or anything, everybody. Just take it, tap out the oil, tap it out, and onto the tray it goes. Take it, tap it out, tap it out, tap it out. Get all of that oil out of there, and in it goes. Take it, get those plantains, everybody. Tap out the oil, tap it out, tap it out, tap it out. Shake it now, because as soon as the oil cools down, it sticks and soaks into the plantain. So the best time to tap it is as soon as it comes out. I cannot emphasize that to you enough. So take it and tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it. Just be careful not to drop it into the hot oil. You will cause an accident to yourself. Take it, everybody, and tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it. And plantains, I gotta say, they are forgiving, right? That's right, Eliam. Today is gonna be a nice long one. We still gotta finish up the pork. The pork has a few more minutes on it, and then it'll be all set. It'll be all ready to go for our purposes today. Come on, everybody. Let's take out the rest of the plantains. Tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it, and onto my lovely little sheet tray it goes. Take the plantains, tap, 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 tap. Last one. And everybody, when it is hot, that is the best time to go ahead and season it, because that is when the salt sticks to it the best. All that we need for these beautiful plantains, everybody, don't overcomplicate it. You could heavily season it if you would like, but in my case, just some really nice kosher salt. That's all that we're going to need right on top of the plantains. The stew is going to be nice and seasoned. The sauce is going to be nice and seasoned. I'm going to go ahead and flip these bad boys over just to make sure that they're all nice and evenly seasoned. Yes, I am grabbing hot, oily plantains with my fingers. And yes, I am partially burning myself. And no, I do not care. So just flip them and season them. Ow, that one really hurt, but that's okay. A little bit of salt. And I think that's going to be perfect. We don't want them to be too salty after all. You care? Well, Taza, I'm glad that you care about my precious little fingers. Okay, everybody, once again, all that we need is for that oil to get nice and shimmering again. And we added in all that oil. The plantains barely soaked it up. It barely soaked it up. That's perfect. That's how you know we hit the right temperature. That being said, we did lose a lot of heat just now. We lost a lot of heat because we just took out these hot plantains. So give it a second to catch back up. Once again, we're just looking for the oil to be slightly shimmering, and I can't wait to be able to bite into. You know what? I gotta give some to Vixen right now, because those plantains are so good. They are so perfect. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this into the pan. That oil is a little too hot, I think, at the moment, but that's okay. Get that bad boy in, get him inside, just get him inside, get them all inside. Oh yeah, I gotta give some to my roommate because these guys, everybody, they're like candy. Even if it wasn't fully matured, it was sweet, it was supple, it was everything that you wanted it to be and more. The plantains are frying once again. We'll put them all in and we'll go ahead and take it and set the timer for 2 minutes. So, was the least annoying way to get rid of oil? Amazing question. The answer is let it cool down and pour it into a jar and dispose of it. If you're deep frying, you can get about 3 to 4 fries out of the oil if you properly filter it. The oil becomes carcinogenic and dangerous if you do that too many times though. Okay? So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and give my roommate a nice little plate of freshly fried, delicious caramelized plantains because they're just that good at the moment. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that Vixen gets some.
Yeah.
Plantains, freshly fried.
Thank you. I'm actually starving.
Yeah, pork will be ready soon. Here we go. Here's a fork. Take a fork. Or not. That's hot, isn't it? Is that good? Mm-hmm. Great. Excellent. Plantains frying. They're frying up. They're getting there, my friends. I love plantains so much. I love plantains. Oh, give a little shake. Nothing is sticking this time around. I think my oil temperature was perfect. Guys. Oh. They're so sweet. These are so delicious. And they're so easy. And they're so cheap. You guys saw how little effort that was. That was almost nothing. That was almost nothing at all. And yet, they're like on candy. Am I on lowest temp? No, this is still a medium heat at the moment. I do think the bottoms on these little guys might be a little scorched now that I'm looking at them, but I think it'll come out perfect. Oh yeah, that will be really, really perfect, my friends. Okay, this guy I'm gonna still keep on that side for a second. And now we can go ahead and flip it. All of them are gonna get nice and flipped over. All of them are gonna get nice and flipped. That is the perfect amount of caramelization on a plantain. That is what I'm talking about. And I think my oil temperature should have been higher the first time around. Guys, look at those plantains. Look at those plantains. Look at them. They're crispy. They're sweet. They're nice and tender and moist on the inside still. They are perfect. Take them 4 more minutes. And we're gonna lower the heat, everybody. The goal again, heat them slowly. Back to a low heat at the moment. Guys, these plantains are so good, Jesus. So much better than my first attempt at them as well. Because my first time, I think that I didn't do a very good job of actually managing my temperature, and my plantains were not nearly as mature as these ones. These plantains, though, I gotta say, they're mature, they're sweet. Even if they're not fully maduros at this stage, they're really, really special. I do really like them. Wow, that is lovely. I'm gonna keep snacking on them. I have no reason not to. We're waiting on the pork. The pork has about 1 more minute left. So you know, the answer is you can flip them as many times as you want. You have nothing to lose at all. You got nothing to lose. Flip them as many times as your heart desires. Ooh, that is sweet. Guys, please make plantains. I need to hear the nice yes, chef. Okay? I need to hear the yes, chef. You all need to be making plantains. Every single last one of you. It is not an option. It is not a joke. These are so simple. These are like candy. And they're just always so impressive. The pressure cooker has built up pressure. The pork is ready to go, my friends. Salty, I just used some plain old canola oil. Nothing but plain old canola oil. Ideally, if you have some lard, chef, you're gonna eat them all, I don't care. We got an early batch coming. The pork smells lovely. The pork smells delicious. You know, in restaurants, you never get enough plantains. This though, you gotta make and eat as many as you want. Every time I've got an order of plantains, I'm like, damn, this is good. I wish I could get more. And then I don't want to pay the money of buying more. So this is perfect for my purposes. Everybody, the pressure on the pork has been fully released at this stage. Yeah, Trash Can Cat Mom, doing a banana bread out of maduros sounds amazing. Especially if you fry them first. Really mature plantains, fry them, mash them up almost like a mofongo, and then make a banana bread out of it. Come on, that sounds actually even better somehow. Which it was pretty difficult to top, even as is. What about plantains cut like fries? That would be okay. I think they would be a little too mushy. They might fall apart a little too much in order to do that. My pressure cooker is done, everybody. The pressure has been built. My pork has stewed. My pork is now hopefully nice and delicious and tender, and I will show that off to you in just a moment's time. But right now, my plantains have just a few more seconds on them before we take them out and get them out of here. But yeah, these are ideal for batch frying. They stay warm. You don't need to keep them really, really crispy or anything, everybody. Plantains, super, super accessible, super easy for anybody to do in a home setting. Dude. In the New York school cafeterias, we would have plantains a couple times a week. I would devour those. There'd be like so many kids that didn't know what they were eating. If they didn't know what plantains were, they're like, this is weird, this is a fried banana. And growing up, I took all of them. I took them all for myself. People didn't know what they were. I took very well full advantage of it. Tap them, everybody, get all of that oil out, because if you leave it on, it will soak onto the plantain. I almost had eggplant for some reason. Right? They don't burn very easily. You have to like intentionally want to burn them. That is a perfectly fried, delicious plantain, my friends. And then we're going to reveal the pork. We're going to finish up the pork, and then we will be all done for today. For the first stream back, I think we're doing quite amazing at the moment, I have to say. And let's go ahead and get these little guys out one more time. Tap, 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 tap. Get all that oil off of them. Get all of that oil off of them. Tap, 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 my friends. Get them all out of here. And guess what? The plantains are done frying. Last but not least, hit them with a good amount of salt. Hit them with some salt, hit them with some salt. Season them up while they're nice and hot, everybody, because that way the salt will absolutely stick to them. They're super hot, and yet I'm flipping them with my fingers because I'm different and I'm cool. So please do as I say and not as I do sometimes. Unless you are also experienced enough to also handle hot plantains with your fingertips. Okay, the plantains have officially finished frying. Okay, and that means, everybody, it is time to go ahead and show off all of my beautiful pork. Let's go ahead and get this guy, let's get this bad boy out of here. I can probably transfer you over elsewhere, for the time being at least. And my pot of pork is done. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna be necessarily reducing the liquid. I kind of want to eat now, but this is my pork, everybody. It has stewed. It is delicious inside. Let's go ahead and take a little ladle to it just so that I can show you this delicious, tender, tender pork, my friends, with these whole cloves of garlic. It is stewed, it is tender, and I'm gonna show you exactly just how soft it is. Chef, unrelated question, if one doesn't have a tortilla press, can one buy pre-made uncooked tortillas, or are those down? Thumbs down. The answer, Tarina, is Yeah, I would first look in to see if you can find a tortilla factory near you, a tortilleria, because a lot of like Latin neighborhoods, a lot of Mexican neighborhoods rather, they would have tortilla factories, or they'd have like little small tortilla makers. I would check that out first. Otherwise, pre-made uncooked ones, rehydrate it, spray some water, microwave it, and then heat it up on a nice dry surface to get it flexible. Everybody, I want to show you all just how tender and delicious my pork is at the moment, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this bad boy. This is gonna be like a little, oh my God, it's falling apart. It is so tender. So it'll be a little corny, it'll be a little cringe, so please forgive me. But I would like you to take a look. We have a nice little fork at it. It just does truly fall apart. It is nice and soft, it is nice and tender. Dude, that is good. Dude, that is amazing. That pork, it is soft, it is juicy, and this is still without the sauce. It's time for us to plate. But first, remember this, remember my fresh herbs, remember my mint. We're going to go in and we're going to get a nice ladle of all of those drippings from the cooking process and mix that in, my friends. This is going to yield us a beautiful sauce. You see that roasted garlic in there? Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. That's right. That's the sauce that we want. That's what we want to see. Look at that. That is all of our cilantro. That is all of our mint. Let's have a little taste of it. Delicious. It's going to need a little bit of salt because remember, there's not that much salt in the liquid itself. So get some salt in there and probably another ladleful of these cooking juices. All of that goes in. All of that just goes inside. A couple more ladlefuls of that bad boy. And mix it all up, my friends. Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. This is the sauce for the pork. This is what's gonna really, really take it over the top. Okay? Have another little sip of that bad boy. See how that is now? That's it. Aromatic, acidic, minty, meaty from all of that pork. Everybody, it is now time for us to go ahead and to properly plate. The sauce is done. The plantains are done. We're gonna go ahead and make 2 nice plates. I'm gonna first give a plate to my lovely roommate Vixen because Faye was so patient in waiting for the food to be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a nice little plate prepared. Everybody, we're gonna start off with a bunch of freshly fried, beautiful plantains. Right on. That's right, Tina. You got it. We have some nice, lovely little plantains. And we're gonna go right to the stove. And we are going to go ahead and get a nice ladleful of all of that pork meat. All of it on. Ideally, everybody, if you have some rice, if you have some beans, this would be the dish to do it. We don't need a lot of that liquid because remember, we have a sauce incoming. So let's just go in as is with just a bunch of that pork meat. Again, the liquid itself, don't need too much of it because we have that sauce coming in hot in just a second. But yeah, rice and beans with this, again, that would be the perfect accompaniment. I did not think we had the time to do so today. I think I was correct. I'm very, very glad that we limited the scope of our ambitions today because otherwise I would not have been able to get everything done in time. Maybe not my best plating ever, but that's okay. Last but not least, everybody, we're gonna grab a little condiment bowl and we're going to go in with a nice little ladleful of our sauce. Right into the condiment bowl. Get it right on with everything else. And last but not least, let's go get a nice fresh lime wedge to go along with all of it. Nice little wedge of lime. Or rather, I'm just gonna do a lime half because I'm a little too lazy to slice this bad boy in half. And again, everybody, this plate looks incomplete because it is. It is lacking the rice, it is lacking the beans aspect of it. But I think I can go ahead and just proudly serve this to my lovely roommate. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a plate for myself. So please excuse me for just a moment while I go ahead and deliver this. I have a gift for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Careful, it's wet. There you go. No, not the bottom of it. You got it. Okay, excellent. And now, everybody, let's go ahead and make a little plate for myself as well. So I already had plenty of plantains. I'm not going to need the same amount of plantains as before. And I'm going to go ahead and get myself some of that lovely sauce that I have worked so hard to develop. Right inside. And then last but not least, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and get some of that stewed pork. And we are going to dig in, we're going to dip it into the sauce, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be delicious. I already had a little bit of pork, so I don't think my portion is going to be nearly as large. That's it. Everybody, I know this is not the world's most impressive plate, not by a long shot, but let's go ahead and do a little recap anyways. This is our first stream back. I need everybody's full attention. I need to hear the nice resounding yes, chef, please, and thank you. This is our first stream back, and it is lovely to have all of you here with me again. So to be able to kick off the new kitchen, I made, oh my God, my voice crack was so cringe. We made some fried plantains, and we made a mojo-inspired stewed pork with a mint sauce. We seared some pork. We deglazed the pan. We added Mexican oregano. We added mint. We added cilantro. We added orange juice. We added some lime juice, some orange zest, lime zest as well, some cumin. And we let it all pressure cook. We took the drippings and we made it into a sauce with some fresh mint, some fresh lime, some fresh cilantro, and some fresh garlic. We fried some plantains beautifully. Simple, delicious. Let's take this and let's go ahead and just dip this into the sauce. Whoop. Mm. 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 It's tender, it's juicy, it's acidic, it's bright. Mm. 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 And some plantain, let's put in the sauce, because why not? Mm. It's everything you want it to be, everybody, and more. This was simple. This was easy. I took my sweet old time with this today. But everybody, I taught you how to braise. I taught you how to fry plantains. Mm. Here's what you're all gonna do. Everybody's gonna fry their own plantains, and you're gonna post them in my Discord, and you're gonna enjoy them. If you've never fried a plantain for some reason, you're gonna go ahead and do so right now. Sometime in the next few days, you are going to go ahead and make some plantains, and you're gonna post it in the Discord. So, everybody, thank you all for being here. Next stream is gonna be this Sunday. We are back. We have the full schedule back. This stream is gonna get so much bigger and better because we are all moved out. I can't wait. We're gonna have so many cameras. I'm going to be putting in so much effort into making this thing really special. If you'd like to support what we do here, my goal is to teach you how to cook at home, and my goal is to be able to do this full time. Support me on my Patreon. !Patreon. Or scroll down into the About section. You can also donate or directly support. Parentheses, my moving costs were really, really high. Join my Discord. Go ahead and keep up with the YouTube channel for any and all VODs. Everybody, I'm gonna see you all this Sunday. 5 p.m. EDT as always, every Friday, every Sunday, every single Wednesday. We are back. This is the new kitchen. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you all really, really soon. Take care, have a good night, and bye-bye.